Grand Rising, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. We are going to get started on today's daily collective read in the next few minutes, but if you would like to get on the list for today, the list is open. It's a lovely time to get on the list. You will be the second person read for. It is 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps. Those are pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything that we've been seeing in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also doing 2 giveaways today. Our first reading giveaway is going to be a reading giveaway when we get to 50K likes, so make sure you're tapping that screen and we'll get to 50K in no time. The other reading giveaway we're doing today is a reading giveaway for the highest gifter between now and the conclusion of the daily collective read. So I wish you a lot of luck if you're participating in that giveaway as well. Prior to beginning today's daily collective read, I will be giving a brief recap on what we've been seeing in the cards over the last few days. If you would like to find that full reading, you can find it over on the place where we keep the videos. You can also find it over on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find it as a podcast over on my spot at Tarot Church and over on my stack. But before we get started today, first and foremost, most important question, how are you doing right now? We're going through eclipse season. All answers are perfectly acceptable. We're gonna go through the same conversation that we have every time we are going through an eclipse cycle. Eclipses don't technically introduce new things. They are amplifiers. They take things that are there and they make them feel bigger, right? And the thing about that, in positive and negative, right? If there's something good, it could feel exuberant. If there's something small and annoying, it can feel overwhelmingly irritating, okay? I'm going to say all of this to articulate to you that I'm not saying that you can't do things during eclipse cycles, okay? Eclipse cycles do not need to generate a freeze state in the self, but just being sensitive upon it, right? The way I like to describe it is it's a good time if there's something that you've had your heart on, like in prior to the eclipse cycle, right? Then you know that it's not the eclipse that is effectively inciting it. The words we want to be conscientious about are inspiration, not incitation. Okay? You want to be inspired. You don't want to be incited during an eclipse season. This can be a time of positive change. It can create spaces of real growth. It can also be moments by which one can take one's frustration and put it somewhere by which it feels like it can flourish in a positive way. The things that you want to avoid, okay, are feeling a lot, and especially now the fact that we've got the moon in Gemini, which is potentially going to create more of a feeling like typically, no harshness towards Gemini energy. We love Gemini energy. Gemini energy is super dynamic. However, okay, for those with Gemini placements, right? It's like I like to describe it as pinball energy. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's all over the place, right? So while it can create a lot of that dynamism, as it were, right? Being able to see things from a lot of different directions, it can sometimes reflect itself as something that feels overwhelming, or something that potentially is like growing too quickly, or feeling like a lot is happening all at once. So I want you to make sure that you're navigating this energy with a sense of proportionality. You're safe within yourself, okay? The peace that we find in situations we bring with us. And that's going to help you if you're feeling this energy, right? I don't want you to think about keeping pace. I want you to think about finding the rhythm that feels most effective to you. Now, this is having a different impact depending on where you are currently find yourself on the frequency cycles. We're going to talk a little bit about it right now. And I got to tell you, sometimes I'm reading into the frequencies and they're very similar. Not right now. Okay, not right now. But that's okay too. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna work through it. We're going to start first with that energy that is currently in solitude. Now, specifically, we see that there was a new relationship cycle that potentially started. And I recognize that this was happening around the time that we had that new moon in Capricorn. So that was around January 14th up until the present. One of the things that we effectively see is a lot of these relationship patterns right now are focusing on the messages that we identify in the World card. The World card is all about striking that healthy balance, right? It's working. It's figuring out what's in your wheelhouse. It's also figuring out what's outside of your wheelhouse. It's figuring out what's another person's wheelhouse, right? It's working through a lot of that space, and that ability of potentially finding the energetic cycles that feel restorative, right? The space by which we're able to effectively build upon or grow. It creates a lot of that time by which we have to be patient. We have to be precious with our own growth processes. And we see that this could be a lot of the work that energy in separation, in solitude, is currently doing, either working into the space of being in solitude with the self and finding harmony there, right? Erasing the illusion of separation, feeling and discovering the contentedness, or working in terms of discovering their bliss, identifying that when we're looking for healthy partnership, right? There's no manifestation that's a BYOJ situation. We bring the bliss with us to our manifestations and our relationship goals. That might not be easy right now, right? There could be a lot of soul searching. This is some real soul searching energy. I have to point out, I keep on describing that this is an occluded eclipse cycle that we're going through, which means if it's hitting differently, it's because there's literally nowhere, there's only like one place on this whole planet by which you can see it in its totality, and nobody lives there. Okay, nobody lives there, which can often work through, right? It can work, what can come up with an eclipse like that? It's working through pathwork of feeling solitude, right? Healing solitude by finding the space by which we feel energetically comfortable with our own energy. But that's not easy. There may be a lot of feelings that are coming up. And for the energy that is moving into relationship right now, this could be working through a lot of vulnerability in the space of counterpart energy, right? This is, I keep on getting, I still got the cards out from yesterday. Look at this read. Vulnerability that acts as shield, right? When we hold our vulnerability preciously, our vulnerability becomes our best energetic protection, because the space by which we hold it, the space by which we articulate it, the space by which we're proud of it, right? If another person sees us in our vulnerability and they're like, boo, then we say good, right? It's the observation of saying, oh, good, look at all that lovely protection. Like, look at all that lovely protection that occurred in the space of being authentic and vulnerable. For a lot of this energy, though, it does potentially feel like taking new approaches to relationship, right? We've got Uranus that came out of retrograde in Taurus. And what does Uranus and Taurus talk to us about? The only way to find a deeper comfort zone is the ability to step out of one, right? It's a paradox of comfort that we often see in the Taurus cycle. So we've got a lot of that energy that's working through that right now. We've also got the fact that Uranus is also moving into Gemini right now. So it could potentially feel it's like mess. It's a lot of that disorder. It's not, I want to describe, it's not necessary. It's finding the dynamism in the disorder, right? The space by which we feel that a lot of things are happening, but the space by which we don't feel the need, right? We don't feel like we have to hold on to things, but the space by which we are effectively learning to effectively release. Now, this brings us to the moon relationships. And the moon relationships were effectively the relationship cycles that were coming together between the time of about January 18th to September 6th of last year, which is effectively the time that we had the Capricorn new moon up until the time that Uranus first went into retrograde. Now, what were we seeing that's happening there? Something really important is happening for these moon relationships. They're going through a very intense healing process, potentially recognizing and identifying the space by which purpose doesn't hurt relationship, so long as we have a unified priority towards purpose, right? And that doesn't mean that we have to have the same purpose, right? Doesn't mean that we have to have the exact same purpose. But when one has purpose, one is able to hold another person's purpose preciously. So what do we have that's happening for these moon relationships? Identifying a relationship of mutual precious purpose, energies that hold each other's purpose as carefully as they do as their own, which is allowing them to move towards their purpose more expediently than they never have before. These are relationships that are built upon the healthy firmament that doesn't require one to constantly pay attention to each other, right? Not the space by which you're looking at each other directly, right? I told you, the eclipse is all, where's that eclipse? It's all the way over there, right? The relationship that creates the healthy firmament, the background by which another can flourish. But there may be a lot of feelings that are coming up. And what are the feelings about? What was all that in the past? What was all that about? A lot of that experience of working through, potentially recognizing wounds of integrity, being able to identify situations by which they potentially felt they had to relieve a relationship because the same purpose that drew someone towards them is what another person articulated was breaking the relationship. This is the energy that's identifying the lack of integrity in some of those wounds, because what happens when we hold a lack of integrity? It's when our yeses don't stay yeses and our nos don't say no. Don't stay no. So for a lot of those energies, potentially having a lot of feelings coming up, but even as the feelings are coming up, right, that's the beauty of this eclipse cycle in Gemini with the Gemini energy. As soon as it rises up, almost immediately released. Like like the pang of understanding, right, dissipated with the present moment, right? So there may be a lot of that. There may be a lot of that kind of rapid energetic healing that's occurring. Now let's get into the temperance relationships, because these are the ones. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? So what are we effectively seeing for a lot of those temperance relationships? And those temperance relationships effectively coming together between September 6th, which was around the time that Uranus went retrograde, up until June 21st of last year. So that was around the time that we had that the solstice. Now, these temperance relationships were a continuation of understanding and recognizing the mutual, right, the relational, and quite the opposite of these moon relationships, right? Everything is possible so long as the work is mutual, right? The mutuality of work by which they effectively help each other see things with more clarity. And so we see that this could be a period right now of nuance and refinement, right? Trying to find the right temperature or temperament. They're really deep in those temperance lessons. And the thing about temperance is we often misunderstand what temperance means nowadays. Temperance doesn't mean blah energy. It doesn't mean lukewarm. It doesn't mean restricting or refraining from things. Temperance is about finding the right pitch, right? I always like to point out that temperance card, are they walking on water, or are they sticking their toe in the water to check the temperature, right? The observation of the empathy that allows us to be able to do something with delicacy. But it's hard when you're trying to do something with delicacy because you care about things, right? You worry, you perseverate, you have anxiety about them. You often doubt the self in the process of trying to do something. And what do we see that these relationships are saying to each other? Right? They're saying, you foolish fool, your care, your worry is why you're perfect for it, right? Like the space by which when we care, the amplification of the concern that we bring in doing something is often articulating why we're exactly the right one to be able to do it. But sometimes that's hard, right? It's sometimes hard because you got to let go of that self-doubt and understand that the self-doubt is the love in disguise, right? It's the love of something that we feel energetically precious about, that we worry upon constantly. So we see that for a lot of those energies, a lot of those worries may feel like they're coming out of the woodwork right now, right? Like just coming through with a lot of this eclipse energy, and especially with that Gemini moon. But again, right, the observation that the worry articulates, that's where the love is, right? The worry is what we can effectively bring to fruition, because the worry helps us see things with more clarity, right? They help us perfect upon things. And that's not the space by which we project our worry onto others, right? Because that would be the space by which we're not navigating them. But the space by which we come through, and with every worry, a new lesson, right? With every worry, a new solution that allows us to get stronger in the face of our energetic fears. Now, that is where we find all of the energy prior to beginning today's daily collective read. But if you'd like to find that full reading, you can find it over on the place where we keep the videos. You can also find it over on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find it as a podcast over on my spot at Tarot Church and over on my Stack. I would also encourage you to head over to my Stack to learn more about the next tarot class that I'll be hosting. We'll be starting that on Thursday, March 19th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be continuing our studies into the tarot with the study of the Cup Court cards. I'll be showing you guys the history of those cards, the symbology. We'll be working through spread applications, how you can read those cards in any direction that they may appear in your own readings. I'm also going to be presenting you a unique spread that'll help you channel the messages of those cards into your own reading. And all you need to do if you'd like to become part of that tarot class program is head on over to my Stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my Stack is your ticket entry into our live classes each and every month. It is not necessary to catch up. I'll give you an update on everything we've studied prior to beginning that next class, but the materials are there for you to receive as you're ready to receive them. And you'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the whole year's worth of readings, but you'll also have opportunity of having, you'll also have a discount on a whole year worth of classes, but you'll also have access to over 20 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Class Archive. You'll also have the opportunity of receiving a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage, moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do with these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post the Mystic Meditation articles there, which will let you know or give you updates on everything we've been seeing energetically in article form. I'll be writing one shortly on this next moon cycle we've got coming up, which is going to potentially be a doozy. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to offer dream interpretation readings, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. If you purchase a series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. That said, let me know in the comments how this energy is impacting you personally, because I know these eclipse cycles can be very intense and they're always going to impact each of us a little bit differently. Also, that said, we are going to get started on today's daily collective read in the next few minutes, but if you would like to get on the list for today, it's an absolutely lovely time to get on the list. You will be the second person read for. 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind, there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're already at 2.1K likes as well. When we get to 50K, I will be gifting a reading back to the collective, so make sure you're tapping that screen and we'll get to 50K in no time. We're also doing first privilege to anybody who was on the list prior to beginning the daily collective. K. Megan Armad got on the list today, so she'll be read for before we get started on today's daily collective read. Anyone who gets on the list right now will be read for once we complete the daily collective. For those who are joining us across the other apps, you can also get on the list today via my tree that has links in it in my bio. We read for here highest priority messages from spirit, life path, mediumship, dream interpretation, angelic guidance, animal spirit guide readings, pet readings, akashic, and mind, body, spirit. If you have information that you feel is relevant for the purposes of our reading, you can include it in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber only disco channel in the appropriate channels. Thank you so much, Rainbow, for all of those beautiful raisins. Thank you for the raisins. Thank you for the roses. I hope you're having an absolutely beautiful start to your day. And Lisa, thank you for joining us. Dalit, thank you so much for joining us through an invite. Stella, thank you for those likes. Good to see you today. Charlotte, thank you for joining us. And welcome as well, Trudy and Bunda. How you doing today, Karina? Welcome, Kay. So good to see you guys. Please welcome our mod, Kay Megan, into the room and thank them for their help today. How are you doing, Colleen? I'm sending you so much support. Remember, Spirit's first directive is making sure that we take care of ourselves so that we can take care of those around us. Make sure you're resting. Make sure you're hydrating. Just take things steady as she goes, okay? And I hope being here is helping you today. And Lucas, thank you so much for that gift badge, and thank you for the heart me's. Friends, please remember to recharge your heart me's if you would like an animal spirit guide card on top of your one card if you are a super fan. Good to see you guys. Make sure to give Lucas some love. Also a fantastic reader supporting readers, hashtags, and walks with purpose. Thank you for those likes. Welcome, and good to see you today, Rainbow. Oh dear, I'm sending you so much support right now. I'm sending you so much support. It's never even easy when someone's transitioning. And support to you and your entire family during this time. And thank you for being here and allowing us to help support you as well. No, it's never easy. It's never easy for us who remain. And I hope their transition is easy and painless. And that's the best you can do, holding space in the way you're describing. And thank you as well. Grand Rising, Minnie, good to see you today. I understand, dear. But again, like, you know, like the space by which we just navigate the preciousness of the time that we have is the best way that we can celebrate those that we care about. Absolutely. And thank you so much, Creative, for those gifts as well. Good to see you today, dear. How are you doing, dear? And thank you for the help, Kay. I appreciate you. Grand Rising, Julia, good to see you as well. Excellent. I know. I understand that too, Rainbow. And I want to kind of reiterate what I said in relationality to yesterday's reading. Potentially contemplating or coming into a state of rest to kind of bring forth that feeling of joy. And if you need outside support, make sure that you're also reaching out to those. Like if you feel like you need external support and helping with that, like make sure that you're doing that as well, right? You have to, like, taking care of yourself is the best way that you can take care of those that you care about, right? Feeling all of the feelings, sending you support as well, Rihanna. Good to see you today. It's been a minute. And Grand Rising, Jen, good to see you as well. Rotez, how are you doing? All right, my friends, as I mentioned, we are going to get started on today's Daily Collective Read. However, we do now do priority for those who've gotten on the list before the Daily Collective Read starts. Our mod, K. Megan, got on the list. Kay, I believe you posted your question in our subscriber-only disco channel. I'm just going to pull it up now. But before we get started, just bear with me a moment. Did you post your question, dear? I'm just taking a look. Oh, I see it here. I've got it. Okay. So I need to take a moment to read over the message because it is inside tea. So just bear with me a moment as we read over. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm just laughing at something she wrote. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's not a lot. First of all, you don't have to apologize for anything. I always appreciate information in relationality to what we're reading for. Um, we're going to get started. Effectively, we're trying to get some advice in terms of how to navigate a complicated situation. Okay. And before we get started today, though, we are going to warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. Animal spirit guide card here. I'm going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I'll reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the hawk. Thank you. We'll keep that out. And can I please get 4 cards? And I'm going to pin up Kay here. Guys, make sure to give Kay some love, and also please thank Kay for all of their help moderating today. All right. 4 cards, please. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what I thought. Eclipse rules apply. When did you start feeling like this? I want to articulate. I want to re-articulate what I stated prior to us beginning or working through, right? Working through this type of energy. What do we often navigate when we are going through eclipse processes, right? And it doesn't have to do with the space by which it's not the fact that we don't have good ideas during eclipse cycles, right? The eclipse seasons are often times of wonderful inspiration, right? A lot of that emotionality that comes forth. What we want to make sure that we're doing is that we're tempering the inspiration with reason. And that can get very difficult when we're going through eclipse cycles, because and especially an eclipse cycle like this one, okay? Because we've had a lot of planets moving out of Pisces, okay? And what happens when we've got, I told you, especially if you carry Pisces placements, especially if you carry Pisces placements, what can that effectively do? It can bring up abandonment wounds, right? It can bring up a lot of the anxiety and fear that says, if I don't do something immediately, I'm gonna miss the energetic moment, right? So it can create it can create a lot of those feelings of anxiety potentially, and wanting to feel like a lot of that feeling of spur of the moment, okay? The nice thing about a good egg, right? I'm going to say this again. I say this constantly during eclipse cycles. The nice thing about a good egg is that you can sit on it. The nice thing about a good egg is that you can sit on it, and it's just as good an idea now as it was 5 minutes ago. It's just as good an idea now as it was 5 hours ago, right? The modality by which we are effectively able to navigate and work through the observation of building through situations that allow one to be able to feel intentional is the space by which we set the intention, and the intention feels stable. So I want you to navigate and ask yourself, are you stabilizing the intention right now? Because when you're stabilizing the intention, it's not going to feel spur of the moment, right? It's not going to feel like, ooh, I better do it. I better do it while I still have, it's like, I better do it while I still have the gumption. But the energy that says, I still feel this way, right? The observation of being able to feel stabilized that allows you to be able to carry forth something that you had your heart invested on prior to the eclipse cycle beginning. So there's a few different things to take into consideration here. The first thing that you articulated, right? Before anything, right? Before anything, that I feel like there should be a conversation that you have with someone in relationality to what their own manifestation goals are, particularly as it relates to relationship, is what I keep on seeing. Because the one conscientious point that we have to identify here, and you've already articulated it, right? And I'm going to point this out. The distance between you is not too severe, but at the time that you're in now, it can create a very large flux, right? There can be a lot of that flux energy between what they might be looking for, right, as it relates to partnership versus what you yourself may be energetically seeking. Now, that is not to say that you and them are not on the same page, but it's worthy of a conversation. It's worthy of, right? And I keep on hearing there's a conversation before you articulate, right? I keep on hearing before you articulate upon how you feel, make sure that you're clear in relationality to the fact that you're both seeking this same energetic thing, right? And I feel like this could be a beautiful opportunity to open that conversation if you have not had it. And the fact is that if they are not in the space, if they're not in the space by which they can maturely have that conversation, that's your answer, right? If it's the space by which you say, like, what are you looking for in partnership? And they say, I don't know, right? If they go, oh, like if they give you a lot of that question mark, then in a way, and this is what we want to avoid, right? The thing that we want to be conscientious about, and especially given the fact that you articulated that the situation itself is delicate, right? You don't want to do something volatile, potentially volatile, in a delicate situation during an eclipse cycle, right? That may feel like it creates energetic repercussions. And that's not to say, so, right, like this is exactly the type of work that we want to amplify and articulate that we want to do during the eclipse cycle, right? It's not the fact that you can't move forward on that vested intention that you identify in relationality to wanting to articulate about your feelings. But the feelings, if the feelings are true, they're going to be there on the other side of the eclipse cycle. But what you can do, right, what you can move that into is a healthy conversation in relationality to what it is you're seeking, right? Allow the passion to move into inquiry, right? And that's effectively creating, right? It's creating the space that if you still feel that inclination on the other side of the eclipse, right? You already have, you understand, you'll have the understanding upon it as to whether it feels like something that would be valuable and secure, right? Saying, oh, we want the same things, that's good, versus, right, the energetic caution point that might arise if you hear them say something like, I don't really know, I'm not really like someone who doesn't seem like they're very they're very intentional in relationality to what they're looking for in relationship. That would potentially show you that there is a potential point of the concern, right? The concern that you identified, right? The concern that you identified in your statement that you can then get clarity on. So this is exactly what we do when we talk about in terms of transforming the eclipse energy away from something that might further destabilize, but being able to build into the energetic integrity of what you're setting yourself towards, right? Bottom of the deck, Again, Empress in its reversal. It's not the fact. I'm going to say, always say this. I feel like there's so many individuals who are always like, don't do anything during the eclipse. Don't do anything. Just lock yourself. Just dig a hole and get in the hole and just stay in the hole until the eclipse is over, right? It's like we don't need to have ostrich rules. We don't need to have ostrich rules during eclipse cycles, right? It's not the space by which we have to navigate that. It's the space by which we have to temper how we're feeling, right? We take the inspiration, we take the spur, and we move it into something that can flourish, right? And that's not, and especially with so much of this Aries energy being like, it feels like, I know what the Aries energy says, feel real good, wouldn't it? Feel real good, just like, just grab them, just grab them, like, just like, that's what the Aries energy does. Don't think about it. Don't think about it, right? But the modality by which, right? The modality by which we bring that intention to things, right? I know, like I know that there's that jump, that force that the eclipse that says it goes like jump. It doesn't mean that you can't jump, but move forward, right? Like move forward with a sense of energetic proportionality, right? Bring proportion to the inclination. And what happens when you bring proportion to the inclination? You find clarity. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, dear. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Binks in my Lio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also at 5.3K likes. When we get to 50K, I will be gifting a reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen and we will get to 50K in no time. I'm going to take a few moments to read over the comments that came through as I was giving that reading. Nana, if you're having a hard time understanding what I'm saying, then it's not necessary for you to stay, dear. Thank you for stopping by and thank you for your input. And thank you for the heart knees. Absolutely. It was a bird. I win. We've talked about this. Don't be taking Nikki rules. All right. There's a lot of birds in that deck. That's why I'm always telling you guys to be very specific on which bird. How you doing today, dear? I understand. Okay, that's it. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, you saw those cards, right? Like the queen and like the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles was the only one upright, which says stabilize the energy, right? It's not that it's not a good idea, but find a stable approach to how to navigate the feeling. You got 5 Pisces. What do you mean 5 Pisces? Oh, you got 5 Pisces placements? How are you doing right now? How you doing? Okay. You got at least 1 of my Pisces placements. Yeah. Absolutely. And Grand Rising, Eric, how are you doing today? It is a tricky topic to navigate. Yeah, exactly. I love Rainbow always giving us that nice boost of confidence. Don't worry, we only have a Mercury retrograde in Pisces starting on Friday, which I'm sure will be fine. It's gonna be fine. We got like, why not? Why not? It's gonna be fine. Oh, Thursday. Thank you for clarifying, dear. Yeah, there was like a lot of tea about like the last reading we did on it. There was a lot of tea that was happening in relationality to something complicated. Saturn, I have my Venus in Pisces return with Mercury in Pisces. So, I mean, and I want to describe this. Like the way I want to point this out is where you have your Pisces placements right now, your abandonment wounds might start coming out. Right. So it's like, and we have to be conscientious with this when we're navigating eclipse cycles. When we recognize that that's what occurring, we can address it. Like we can address it in a way by which we can put compassion there. Right. Being like, it feels extra sensitive at this time, And thank you, Jamie, for the follow. I love that you love it. Mm-hmm. For a reader, she's back. It's 3 cards for 29 or more for non-subscribers. And all you need to do is head over to my tree that has links in it, my Lio, and you can get on the list. No, but and here's the thing, but I gotta tell you, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, okay? The butterflies and the feelings, they're gonna amplify, right? They're gonna amplify even more as we move deeper, as we move towards that within the next 2 weeks, like as we move towards that next lunation cycle. And I want to describe this, like, and here's, I can't wait. I'm already working on the article for it. You know, the thing about the thing about, like, the thing we have to recognize and we have to be very mindful about is we've got a Virgo full moon during Pisces season. And a Virgo full moon in Pisces season is literally about the ability to, like, move something like this when it feels like everything around you is just moving like this, right? It's like all of that, it's like all of that energy that makes you feel like, like tempest tossed. And then just having the energetic steadiness of being like, it's like that, right? It's like working through the steadiness, through a lot of emotion, like through a lot of emotional turmoil, right? And I keep on saying this, don't feel overwhelmed right now. Focus on being precise, right? And I know if I say that right now and you groan, I'm going to say it twice. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, no, my Pisces is all 9th house. Yeah, hold on a moment, I'm just reading over. I believe Superfan, you just go down there. There should be a button that allows you to become a superfan. Perhaps if someone else who is not me, who can see it, can offer more clarity, I would appreciate that. I see things a little bit differently than you guys do. Okay, where was I? And thank you for the follow. She's back. Yeah, my Pisces are all in the 9th house. And my Cancer placements are in 12th house Gemini. I mean, the thing about, like, 9th house Pisces can be really frustrating because it's the feeling of, like, it's working through the feeling of things that don't come to fruition, like having a lot of sensitivity there. And here's the thing about it, it's okay, right? Like, giving yourself the space of saying it's okay to be upset if something doesn't come to fruition. But here's the thing with the 9th house Pisces placement. Is it not coming into fruition, or is it not coming into fruition the way that you expected it would? Right? That's why we have to build into, right? We have to be, and it's like the energy going, where is it? And being like, instead of saying where is it, being like, I'm looking, I'm listening, right? Like, it's frustrating. Yeah, absolutely. Pisces placements in the 12th house are wild. How are we doing? How are my Pisces placements in the 12th house doing right now? Yep. Can somebody please help? She's back, if that's possible. Absolutely. No problem. Yep, absolutely. Spiritual travel, higher education, philosophy, religion, absolutely. Hi there, Kath. No, you're fine. You are fine. You are absolutely fine. So as I mentioned, she's back. I believe that if you go right down there, there's going to be there should be a button that allows you to become a super fan. Yeah, the lower left corner. Absolutely. And thank you guys for supporting each other during these readings. How you doing today, Jana? Good to see you, my dear. And thank you for those heart me's. Grand Rising Avatar as well. We leveled up. I don't know what that means. I am good at this. Yes! What does it mean? Lindsay, thank you for the follow. Excellent. All right, as I mentioned. Yeah. Oh, you did. Oh, that's wild. Okay, so we're going to get started. A Chiron in Scorpio is a wild placement, man. Yeah. And if any, as I mentioned, if there's anyone who can help, she's back in locating where the superfan button is to subscribe. I would deeply appreciate it. I'm under the impression that it's lower, that it's the lower corner that I'm pointing to. But if I am incorrect, please let me know. We are all learning under the learning tree together today. So we're going to get started on today's daily collective read. If you want to get on the list for today, it's an absolutely lovely time to get on the list. You'll be the first person read for that we read once we complete the daily collective. If the first person on the list each day also receives an additional card in their reading, so if that is still up for grabs, if you want to secure that spot on the list, if you are on the hold list and would like to be added back to the list, please let me know the date that you are added to the hold list. I can pin the superfan option. Well, that's nice to know. Where is that? I'm looking. Yeah, you know, I see, the only thing I see that I can pin is that. It's very frustrating. I'm looking right now where I can pin it. I'm trying to check it out. I can see to pin Heart Maze. Yeah, did that work? Let me know. Okay, as I mentioned, friends, we are going to get started. You're on that same screen. Slide to the right. Oh, thank you. Rainbow, thank you so much. I appreciate you. It can't slide. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Oh, thank you. Look at you. I mean, thank you, Lucas. I appreciate that. Look at that. Thank you, Lucas. Guys, make sure to give Lucas some love. And absolutely amazing reader as well. Readers supporting readers. Thank you, Lucas. All right, as I mentioned, friends, now I can't pin you because I haven't. I was like, I can't. Let me pin you. Oh, wait, I just did pin. All right, my friends, as I mentioned, we're going to get started on the Daily Collective. If you want to get on the list today, it's a wonderful time to get on the list. You'll be the first person read for. 3 cards for donation of 29 or more. Technology, exactly. 4 cards. I love being a part of the learning tree. It's 4 cards, 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. And if you get on the list right now, you'll be the first person we read for at the conclusion of the day, once we conclude the Daily Collective, and you will also have an additional card in your reading. If you're hoping to join and get on the list, if you're joining us across the other platforms, you can do so via my tree that is linked in my bio. We read here for highest priority messages from Spirit, Life Path, Mediumship, Dream Interpretation, Angelic Guidance, Animal Spirit Guide readings, Pet readings, Akashic, and Mind, Body, Spirit. If you have information that you feel is relevant for the purposes of our reading, you can include it in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber-only Disco channel in the appropriate channels. We are going to get started on today's Daily Collective, but before we so, thank you for those heart me's, Kath. We are going to warm up the intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the Animal Spirit Guide cards here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, oh, thank you, it's beautiful. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the water dragon. Thank you for participating. We'll do that again after the next reading. Also, please remember that no one who's a legitimate reader will ever ask you to privately message them. And this is my only account. As I mentioned, friends, we are going to get started on today's Daily Collective Read, but if you'd like to get on the list right now, you'll be able to secure the first spot on the list once we complete. And we're doing 2 giveaways right now. Whoever gives the highest gift between now and the end of the collective read will be getting a free reading. Kath, you're currently in the highest gifter with 353, so thank you so much. And thank you for everybody who's already given gifts. And I'll also be gifting a reading back to the collective when we get to 50K likes, so make sure you're tapping that screen. We will get to 50K in no time. That said, no better time than the present. Why don't we get started? Welcome, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your masculine, feminine, and non-binary energy update for today, Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. We're going to be starting with a masculine, feminine, non-binary energy update today, and we're going to be starting right now with the energy of masculine. We're going to be utilizing the Smith-Waite Centennial deck for the headspace of masculine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. 3 cards right now. The Moon card in its upright, the 6 of Cups in its upright, in combination with the Fool card in its reversal. That's a lot of steady as she goes energy as we navigate through this eclipse season. So let's talk a lot about well, this is a continuation of what we were seeing yesterday in relationality to working through a lot of the space of this eclipse. One of the things I like to point out about this eclipse is the reason it might be feeling like it's hitting a little different is almost nobody can see the totality, right? Totality was way out somewhere where nobody could see, right? And this is the thing that we have to recognize. And this is why vulnerability is important, right? Vulnerability is a point of strength. And why is vulnerability a point of strength, right? It's the observation of recognizing that there are things that one cannot see, right? The wisest person, right? The wisest person you ever meet is rarely the person that believes that they know everything, right? You can't learn anything if you think you know everything, right? And often the space by which you feel, right? Where does like unhealthy cynicism live? In the space by which you feel like you know things, right? And you're not willing to effectively expand or grow. That's why we understand that what's beautiful, right? The wisdom that is flexible. The wisdom that is flexible is often the wisdom that says, I don't know. It's like the energy that goes, I don't know. But we do our best to fortify our knowledge, right? And when we think about our knowledge like that, right, then we don't feel like we have to be the authority in things. But this is the difference, right? It's understanding that the authority that we bring to things is being able to understand the space by which we're able to gather the knowledge that we have in order to build energetic presumptions, right? It's the space by which we see our knowledge as the pinnacle, right? But not the fortress, right? And when we think about our knowledge as the pinnacle and not the fortress, then we're always looking to expand upon it, right? We're always looking to understand more. And that same quality is what allows us to heal our relationships, right? Because in the space by which we identify and recognize things, and this is what often happens, you'll see this, right? When energy builds into, you have no idea how you will feel on the other side of a manifestation, right? You think about anything. I want you to think about anything you've ever wanted. Did you expect it to feel like this? This is what we talk about with emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is not about knowing the feelings. You know your feelings so you can feel different feelings. That's what's cool about emotional intelligence, right? You're like, okay, I've got these on lock, and now I can have more feelings, right? And it's complicated, right? Because when we enter things that we haven't experienced before, what do we find there? All these feelings that we never felt before, right? Like, it's not a cliche. It's literally the nature of feelings, right? This is what we talk about with expansion. There are feelings behind our feelings. And the way that we understand and find more feelings is by delving into the feelings, right? You can't expect to have something amazing if you're not willing to face your feelings, because you're seeing emotions are like, the universe is like, I want things, and emotions like feelings, and you're like, no, I'm going, but feelings, right? But feelings, like, you can't say I want something new, and the universe goes, here's some feelings, here's some new feelings, and then you go, no feelings, and then being like, let me get this straight. Hold on, let's roll back the tape. I can't give you new things. I can't give you new things if you're not ready for new feelings. They can't do it. It's like you can't give compromising instructions to a world that's trying to help you. And in the modality by which we understand, right? And this is often what happens when we're trying to move towards things, right? We're like, oh, I want something new. And the universe is like, well, here are all those new feelings. And then being like, no, I'm being like, but I can't bring, you can't go there if you're not ready for the feelings that you'll find there, right? So this is why we look at our manifestations as an act of energetic preparation. The emotions that we do, the work that we do in separation is not divorced from partnership. It is integral to it, right? Because when we look, right, and when we get out, like, and this is a hard part with that Aries energy, because what does Aries want to do? Right? Often, and this is how we heal. I feel like I honestly feel that the beauty of Neptune and Saturn coming into Aries is a reintroduction into what Aries energy actually is, right? There's the false premise that Aries is this like this brute force, right? It's like, like a lot of that rage, it's like a rage room that often energy associates with Aries. Couldn't be further from that, right? We look at the myths. We see the fact that Aries, why is love so close to Aries, right? Because when we feel passionate about things, we get very strong about them. We get very frustrated, right? The passion that we feel often breaks things. But when we find the space, right? But when we find the space to fortify how we feel, right? How do you get rid of all that frustration with your feelings? You become vulnerable with them, right? You become honest about them. You face them, right? You don't use them as weapons. You hold them as shields. And we often see this in the journey of Aries, right? Right? Aries, like it's the space by which and the way I like to describe it is like often Aries likes to come in saying like, like rebel without a cause, right? Us like one like the self against the world, right? And what does the wise Aries do when they come out of it? Being like, oh, I can see the problem, right? If you look at the world and be like, it's me against the world, you are the force against the world, right? Like you've already dictated the terms in terms of how you're experiencing things, right? So when we bring that space by which we say to ourselves, right, the emotions that stop acting as weapons but instead become shield, something beautiful happens, right? That's when we become warriors, right? That's when our emotions stop feeling like a thing we fling at each other and something that we articulate or utilize to protect one another, right? It's not the space by which we push each other away. It's the space by which we hold each other closer. But it's scary, right? It's vulnerable. It takes a lot of courage to do that. Much easier, right? Much easier to craft a weapon than a shield. But why it's so important. And so we see that there's a lot of the energy working through that. And even as they're working through it, it's painful because what do you often have to experience as you're doing that? Having to face the younger self, right? The inner child that was not ready to embrace those emotions. This brings us to feminine energy right now. For feminine, we're going to be utilizing the Aquarian Tarot for feminine right now. Bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. 3 cards, please. Ooh, we've got the Knight of Swords in its reversal. We've got the 8 of Cups in its reversal. And we've got the Hangman. And it's interesting too, because there are those that draw a lot of connections to the Hangman with Piscean energy, and I can understand why. We're going to talk about it. The thing we recognize is the space by which our emotions, right? And I feel like this is something that is difficult. Like this is something that feels that feminine, I feel like, is working to heal, which is to say that our emotions, and it's just the painful subject that we have to recognize. Emotions don't fix things. But here's the weird thing about emotions, right? Emotions can fix everything, but only if it's mutual. Emotions are like Wonder Twin energy, right? If emotions are mutual, they become the thing that can fix everything, literally everything. But if it's not mutual, then there's nothing the emotions can fix, right? It is the understanding that emotions, right, It requires that mutual investiture, right? And the ability to effectively, right? And I keep on hearing, this is why we often can't take emotionally led, we can't fix things. We can't allow, like, the emotions can guide us, but they can't drive us, right? Because the emotions are very convincing like that, right? This is what emotions do. Emotions are like, I can do this. Like, I can, like, well, let me, like, they're like children, right? Like, emotions are like children. And what do emotions say? They go, can I please drive? Can I please drive? Like, that's what emotions do. They're like children. And the first thing they say is, I think I'm ready to drive. Right? You're like, you are so not, though. Right? It's the observation that they often, right? The emotions want us to get ahead of ourselves. And it's not to say, right? It's not to say that isn't the right inclination. And this is the thing, and we always have to recognize this during eclipse cycles, right? The ability to identify the inclination of the emotions, not to let the emotions lead, but to allow the emotions to find that appropriate action to navigate the emotions, is how our emotions become fortified, right? It's the difference between saying to someone, I'm angry. That's not helpful. What does that mean? Right? Okay, that's great. I mean, like to say that to an Aries. Aries is like, welcome to the club. But it's not the fact articulated, but how it's what we are say to one another that can do something more effective with it, right? Right? I'm angry. I could really use a sandwich, right? It's the self-diagnosis of what the emotions need that allow things to become incredible. And once we do that, right, then we become the solution, right? Then we are effectively we're moving our emotions into a space by which they become solid action. And that becomes a relief. It becomes a gift to those around us. It also becomes a shield, right? Because if you articulate to someone and say, like, I'm angry, this is what would fix it, that either brings forth a logical conversation or it brings forth solid action. And if some other person says, I don't care, right? That sounds like a you problem, right? Then look how beautiful. Then look at those amazing emotions that you turned into solid actions that just showed you where you should be and where you need to move away from, right? It's not easy, because then that's the thing about it. Our emotions, right? Our emotions either do two things. Either they come into contact with someone else that shares them and they heal everything, or they help us recognize, right? They help us recognize where we should be, right? They help us recognize what feels like the modality by which we ourselves are working, right? They're always working towards our highest self. But the way that we navigate them, right, is the space by which we don't, right? The one thing the emotions can't do, right? You can't bring emotions into the crowded room of trauma and expect them to be tended, right? They tend us by showing us where others honor them, that help us guide our own energetic direction. Now that brings us to the non-binary energy. Non-binary energy right now, we're going to be utilizing the Tarot del Fuego for the headspace of non-binary. 3 cards, please. Ooh, 2 of Pentacles in its reversal. 8 of Swords in its reversal. And 6 of Wands. Oh man, it's a Gemini moon, man. Let's get to it. In its reversal. This is a headache. Gotta make it all complicated. Overthinking. Don't let goods get in the way of done. And here's the thing about it. I keep on seeing this energy, and this is a continuation of what we were seeing yesterday with the energy and temperance. When we care about things, we always worry that we're messing it up. That's exactly why you won't, okay? If you are sitting there doing something and you are worried that you're messing it up, welcome. I would like you to introduce you to the person that is responsible enough to care to do something, right? That is exactly the right pitch to navigate when you're trying to do something exquisitely, right? How do you do something? With a lot of anxiety, with a lot of anxiety. And when we think about it like that, right? When we think about the fact that our anxiety is a blessing, right? Do you ever take a moment to consider that your anxiety is a blessing to those around the self? Because when we are constantly energetically anxious, when we're constantly trying to do something in the best way, then as we're like sitting there and we're being hard on ourselves, what is everyone around us saying? Look at that person who cares so much. Look at that person who cares so much. Look at that person who dares so much, right? And if the modality by which you're working through something has another person projecting upon you on that, then that tells you all you need to know. It's not easy, right? But it's the space by which our anxiety, right? Even in the space by which we understand that, our anxiety becomes the gift to the world. Because when we articulate, right, when we articulate upon our anxiety and we try to bring forth the energetic solutions to it, we become each other's blessings, right? We worry upon it. And what is, right? Like, what is the nature of love, right? The nature of love is worry that we transform into something beautiful, right? So I feel like that's a lot of that energy that works through those capabilities, works through those modalities by which they often have those experiences of self-doubt. And I just want to point out, we're going through an eclipse cycle with Pisces season, like in Pisces season. So a lot of those feelings of saying, am I good enough, right? Am I qualified enough? Am I doing something the right way? If you're thinking like that, the answer is usually yes. You know that, right? Like energy that doesn't think like that, that's when things like that's when someone's like, I am, being like, are you though? it's it's the nature of the compassion that we bring forth. And so I see a lot of that energy working in that way, but also making sure that they're finding time to energetically rest. Now continuing, like, rest, okay. Like that. Now continuing to get clarification, moving back into masculine heart space. We're going to be utilizing the Aquarian Tarot. Heart space of masculine right now. 3 cards, please. 1, 2, 3. What do we have here? We've got the 10 of Swords in its upright. We've got the 8 of Swords in its upright. So we've got, I want to show you, we've got a lot of 8 energy on the table right now. I'm not surprised. I believe the moon is in Gemini, so I'll have to confirm that. And we've also got the 5 of Cups in its upright. So, you know, the one thing I'm identifying here is a lot of what's going on in the headspace of non-binary is actually happening in the heart space of masculine, bearing in mind based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Very, very similar energy there. And the one thing I want to say, this is some heavy stuff, man. What is it like? This is effectively, this is a heart that hurts is a heart that works energy, right? A heart that hurts is a heart that works, right? And I keep on hearing heartache is not the same as heartbreak, right? Because, and I remember how I articulated this, like for a lot of the masculine energy doing that work right now, the observation of building into the space of allowing the vulnerability to guide the self, right? And do you see the incredible difference that's happening here, right? Like a feminine's going through the emotions that go, can I drive? And feminine's going, no. Feminine's got emotions going, can I please drive? And be like, absolutely not. But what you can do, right? What you can do while we see the masculine working through, right? A heart that hurts is a heart that works, right? The space by which we understand that when we start to hold our vulnerability preciously, right? What does the vulnerability say? The vulnerability says, I need to show you some stuff that you haven't been looking at. You know, like that's what's so hard, right? Like that's what's so hard about embracing our vulnerability. You know, vulnerability, you embrace vulnerability. And what's the first thing that the vulnerability is going to show you? I need to show you some stuff that you've been avoiding addressing, right? I need to show you, I need to show you some things that you've been steering, like you've been holding a very wide berth on, right? That's what we talk about with shadow work, right? What are you avoiding? Right? What are those parts of the self that are hard to look at? Because the vulnerability says, I love you, right? All of this is you. And the more that you're able to face the parts of ourselves that we don't understand, is the space by which we find the beauty in our vulnerability, in what we feel, what we consider, right? What we consider our shame or our failures or the situations by which something we aspire to do better, right? And everything, right? And this is what's beautiful, and this is what we often learn, right? The power that comes in true change is being able to address things in ways that you have never addressed them before, right? It's not the space, like, and that's why we often say, like, you want something to change, get ready to go inward, right? Because it's the observation of being able to recognize our own tendencies of limitation, right? And the tendencies of limitation, we all have them, right? We're all, it's not it's not a negative, but it certainly feels like one. It certainly feels like one, right? And so I keep on seeing that this is a lot of that journey that we see that is being worked through. And the problem is, and this is what we talk about, right? This is why the eclipse cycles, when you're not dealing with your emotions and eclipse cycles occur, right? It can feel like you're energetically over capacity. Potentially when we're having an eclipse cycle that was coming through the translation point between Aquarius into Pisces, because what is the lesson that we often learn with Aquarius energy, right? Like you say, I don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to put it in the cloud of the unconscious. Now it controls everything, right? Like now that thing that you did not want to, now that thing that you were trying to avoid, it controls everything around the self, right? Because you put it in a place by which you can't necessarily address it within. So I see that a lot of that energy is working through, right? Working through a lot of those experiences. And it's not easy, right? There's a lot of emotionality there. But I keep on seeing it's the resolve, right? How do we build into a better version of self? We see things and we resolve to do something in a greater way. So there's a lot of that energy that's working through that path work. And I keep on getting heartache, not heartbreak, because a heart that aches works and allows us to be able to see what hurts that we can put love towards. Now this is bringing us back to the energy of feminine. And for feminine right now, we're going to be utilizing the Smith-Waite Centennial deck. As soon as I started reading for feminine, like my throat chakra got all blocked up. Can I get 3 cards, please? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. What do we have here? We've got the Knight of Cups. So there's a lot of night energy in the feminine energy right now. Ace of Pentacles in its reversal, and the Fool card. Look what I did. Oh, that's so okay. So this is what okay. So I've got two I've got 2 different Smith-Waite decks here, and I accidentally pulled from the older one instead of the newer one, which is how we've arrived to the fact of having we've got double Fool card in its reversal, right? Both for masculine and feminine. For masculine, it's in the head space. For feminine, in the heart space. But I actually like this because this is what the feminine is working through. Feminine is working through. There are no mistakes. There are just happy accidents. And that's very much Gemini energy, right? Like this is why, and this is what happens, right? This is what happens. This is how we work. And I think that this is nice because like we're coming towards like we're coming towards like that Virgo. I know it sounds a little wild, but it's intense. But I personally think it's really lovely to have a Pisces, like a Virgo full moon in Pisces season, right? Because it's the conversation of healing what we consider perfect. Here's the funny thing about perfect, right? Did you ever notice that energy that's obsessed with perfect never finds perfect? That the hard part is when you're working too much on perfect, right? Perfect is not control, right? It's understanding that there are things that could be better, right? It's the observation of being able to grow and expand something that happens when we're generous with our perfect, right? It's the space by which we allow something to energetically grow, right? It's the space by which it kind of builds into that. And I keep on seeing, like, the one thing that I keep on getting here, and this is really difficult, is the modality by which the trauma that we have to be perfect ruins our ability to find perfection. Because while you're so worried about coming across perfect, right, there goes the perfect direction, right? And so when instead, like when we, instead of trying to, and we were talking about this in yesterday's reading, when we don't see ourselves, right, the difference between a perfect maker and a perfect breaker, right, is the space by which we see things and we look towards them, and we try to make it even, like we allow something to energetically grow. We've all had those moments, right? The space by which something is going perfectly fine, but then one person gets it in their head the way that they want it, and then what do they start saying? You ruined it, right? While others are trying to expand on a vision, right? And then our own sense of perfect is the space by which another person gets too caught in what they see, that doesn't allow them to be able to see something even greater, right? That's occurring. So the way that we effectively allow, right? The way that we effectively allow, and how is the only way that we can allow for the ability of an even more perfect vision? You got to get a little bit more acquainted with being comfortable with messy things, right? It's like, that's the Pisces, like that is the energy, right? And this is what we often see with, like, and this is what's hard about Virgo and Pisces coming together, right? Because it's like the two sides of the different coin in relationality to what perfect is, right? Perfect that says, like, it must be just like this, and Pisces is like, I just kind of throw it every, like, I just, it's just like, it's a lot of that, right? So it can often create that space, right? And this is what we see in terms of taking incredibly harmonic approaches to things, because when we leave ourselves available, right? When we work towards, and this is to say, like, this is the whole thing about it, our perfects don't need to hurt each other, right? The modality by which we say, right, this is my approach, there's another approach, there's a different way of doing it, it's, that's fine, that's how they do it, that's how I do it, right? Like, it's like, that's beautiful, because that's energy going, I'm very invested in my exquisite, right? And finding, like, working into those modalities by which we're refining our exquisite doesn't mean that we have to energetically control the exquisite of others. It's the space we effectively work through something, and even as we work through it, we come into understanding something deeper. And so we see that there's something really, I keep on hearing there's something really beautiful there, specifically and particularly because it talks about the energetic delight that we have in sharing, like in sharing energetic visions with each other, right? It creates that delight instead of that anxiety. So we see that, and I feel like there, and this is why we see that for a lot of the feminine energy here, we've got a lot of that Knight of Cups in combination with that Knight of Swords in its reversal, right? Because that is the energy that says, right? That's the energy that says, in order to find, right? In order to find greater joy, right? We have to be energetically proportional, right? The healthy boundaries that we hold, that we articulate, are the difference, right? The difference between an energetic standard, right, versus what we're energetically flexible upon. So we see that this is a lot of the energy of the feminine kind of working through that in a way of being able to take, right, like I said, taking the emotions, right, taking emotions and moving them into stable action. Now moving back into non-binary space, 3 cards for non-binary in the heart space, and we're going to be utilizing the Aquarian Tarot for the heart space of non-binary right now. What do we have here? 2, 3. We've got, we've got the High Priestess. We've got the King of Wands. And we also have the Two of Wands in its reversal. A lot of wand energy there. Everything I'm seeing in relationality, this is a continuation of working through, I just keep on hearing, having a higher ideal can often feel like it's working through an energetic vision. The nature of having a vision is perpetually feeling like one is falling short of it. I'm going to hold your hand when I say that. I'm going to say it again. And I want you to write it down. Okay? The adversity, having a vision, is perpetually feeling that you're falling short of that vision. And when you recognize that that is the quality, right? That is literally the quality of having vision, then you hold yourself with more compassion, right? You don't bludgeon yourself with how far you have to go. You take the time to appreciate and respect the energetic progress that you've made in the direction, right? And I keep on getting that for a lot of that energy, this has been like it's a hard journey, right? Because often, and I keep on seeing the space by which we ourselves are energetically adaptable is often the space by which, and I keep on seeing this, a lot of the energy is working through the observation of how it feels to navigate situations, but often feeling like heavily invested in the solitude required in order to energetically follow towards vision. And I keep on seeing a lot of that solitary energy that we see there has a lot to do with the trauma that they themselves have experienced in relationality to others, energetically holding and respecting their own boundaries is what I keep on getting. And there's a lot of like I always see this with the two of the Two of Wands in its reversal with the King of Wands, like with the King of Wands, right? It's often like I feel like a lot of that energy is like I see a lot of that energy that often works through they work through the modality by which they're solitary, but like the reason that they build into a lot of that solitude is because they've had experiences by which others, right, and this is what happens in trauma environments, others aren't respective of each other's boundaries, right? The modality by which, right, and I keep on hearing the modality by which we come to each other is the space by which we ourselves hold those experiences with a sense of honor. And I keep on seeing that what often happens, like, and again, you notice how much I'm clearing my throat in relationality to their own vulnerability, right? I feel like there's been experiences by which that the energy feels like others have taken their energetic compassion for granted, or the modality by which another, I keep on hearing you can't demand compassion for one from each other, right? Like the experience by which another person demands compassion is usually articulated, like the word that I keep on hearing is demand, right? And demand, there's no demand, right? There's no demand in healthy conversation, right? There's nothing about demanding anything that is ever in the context of being relatively healthy. But often, often the space by which they themselves work through, like often the space by which they work through things has to do, like I keep on hearing, healthy energy is unified encouragement. And what is unified encouragement? Unified encouragement is the space by which we articulate, right? We move towards each other in a way by which we energetically celebrate. It's the space by which we effectively build into the context of positivity. But I keep on seeing that this is why this energy works through something in such a way by which they're like I keep on hearing, like they're working very carefully towards things, but also trying to do things in equal measure. Because I feel like for a lot of that energy, like having to address, I keep on hearing like having, and then, like this is that Gemini energy, having to address many different things at once, right? Is the space by which, right, you don't necessarily feel like you have to be like you're not the one who's always kind of moving things forward, but the space by which you build reliability by others who understand and acknowledge like your own position with a sense of encouragement and patience. So I feel like there's a lot of that energetic appreciation that the energy has in relationality to situations and circumstances by which others understand the energetic pressure that they themselves feel in terms of trying to arrive to the things that they're doing, but also trying to, I keep wondering, trying to portion, like they're trying to energetically proportion themselves appropriately, right? And that's what I keep on getting in relationality to a lot of that energy, having had experiences before by which they themselves have had trauma, because in the space by which they were trying to do that, another person came to them, right, in the context of potentially demanding more, is what I keep on seeing. Now, this brings us to the energy moving back into, and I feel like it's interesting too, because I feel like that's why a lot of the energy builds into connection, but with energy that is very protective of them, is what I see. Because I almost feel like that's energy that like works into counterpart connection with someone who is very fastidious in relationality to that work, being able to recognize or identify how that feels, but also potentially with the sensitivity of another person who understands the trauma that another person has carried around that. Bringing us back to the masculine energy, 3 cards for the unconscious of masculine right now. We're going to be utilizing the Tarot del Fuego for the unconscious of masculine. 3 cards, please. We've got the Hierophant in its reversal, the 8 of Pentacles in its upright, and the Fool card in its reversal. Oh my gosh, this is wild. If you have the opportunity, I'll be taking a photo of today's spread. If you're a tarot nerd and you want to take a look at the cards, we've got three Fool cards in its reversal. Now, here's the thing with me. I don't mind a Fool card in its reversal. I like a Fool card in its reversal, because to me, often the Fool card in its reversal is like a wise fool. It's working into the energetic context of it's working into the context of we're only foolish when we assume things, right? That's what foolish energy is. Foolish is it's foolish to assume things, right? And the modality by which we work, and this is why I see, but here's the thing about it, right? In order not to assume things, we have to get vulnerable. right? The only way to heal gross assumption is by having vulnerable conversations. So I feel like that is what we effectively identify is occurring, right? And I feel like in a way, what's effectively happening is I feel like there's some masculine energy that recognizes that some of the things that they're working to heal have to do with experiences by which their pride was moving them in the direction of gross assumptions instead of vulnerable inquiry, right? The modality by which we recognize and identify that often the space by which, right, and this is often what happens, like as we mature, we get mortified by our gross assumptions, right? We look at it like look. I feel like a lot of the masculine looks back like, look at that, look at them go, look at that. Oh, there they go, assuming things. Like there they go, assuming they know everything. They don't know anything, right? Like that's often what happens. And so we often feel mortified, right? As we become wiser, we become mortified by our gross assumptions, right? That's what happens. Like that's, well, welcome to life. It's like, welcome to life, where you will be where you will be slowly mortified by your gross assumptions. But as you do, right, as you're mortified by your gross assumptions, you're refining yourself, right? Like that's what the refinement process is, right? You understand more, right? And so for a lot of that energy, and I like to point out, like it's interesting because this fool is looking that way, and the other fool reversed is looking this way, right? And so this is the energy that potentially feels to a certain extent, right? Like they're in that point of flux, right? Or the modality by which they say, right, and this is what's hard about it, the way you hold the past and the future builds into the moment, the importance of the fact that the present is all we effectively have, right? And when you understand that the present is the present because the present is a gift, right? You don't spend all of your time dwelling on a past that you can't change, right? But you have to be able to face the past, right? This is the funny thing about it. You have to be able to hold the past, but not dwell on it. Because if you dwell on the past, then the past has you in a spell, right? The past can also be a spell. That's what nostalgia is, right? What is the spell of the past? Nostalgia. I want to go back there. Everything is beautiful and nothing hurt. No, that's a lie. Your brain is really bad at holding on to pain, right? And when you recognize that and you understand that the spell of nostalgia is always something by which the brain wants to reframe something of having been better than it was, and we bring it into focus, right? We clarify that view with a reality check, right? reality check, right? We bring into that reality check and we say the present moment is what is important, right? Everything has led to that point. The future is uncertain. Who knows what's there, right? Doesn't matter, right? What matters is now. You're going to be the person that faces that future. So the way that we understand, that we fortify ourselves for the future that is unknown, is the space by which we say, right, it's understanding ourselves to such an extent that we feel energetically ready to face what exists there. So it's the modality by which I see a lot of the energy potentially going through, right? There's that Pisces, there's that Virgo, right? There's that Virgo energy with Pisces that has all of that energy and saying what's important is right now, right? Moving with intention, right? Allowing the intention to guide the self as it relates to fortifying the direction. So finding that point of stability that allows us, right? Doesn't allow us to move in fear or anxiety, but with a sense of purpose. Now, this brings us to the energy of the feminine. Again, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. And the only way, sorry, just going back to masculine, the only way you can move with purpose is if you embrace your vulnerability, right? Because if you don't embrace your vulnerability, then you're leading by fear, right? Now, for feminine energy, for feminine unconscious, we're going to be utilizing again the Tarot del Fuego. 3 cards, please. We got the 4 of Swords in its upright, the Queen of Cups in its upright, and the Magician in its upright. That's some heavy stuff in the hearts, in the unconscious of feminine. And this is a lot of feminine energy that is working through, right? I just keep on getting this. This is feminine energy that understands that when you are precious and incomparable, then you start to look at comparison a lot differently, right? Perfection is not found outside the self, it's found within, right? And the space by which I just keep on seeing the energy, right? I just keep on hearing feminine doing the same thing. Feminine's like, I can't hear you right now. Oh, what was that? You were comparing? Wait, I couldn't. I'm sorry. You were comparing me to something. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I'm too busy working on my exquisite over here. No, I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to speak up. I can't. I know. I can't hear. There's all this comparison. I can't hear. There's all this comparison. I can't hear anything. I'm too busy in here working on my exquisite. You're gonna have to speak up. What was that? What was that? You were comparing? Oh, comparing. You mean you want something better? Oh, okay. You want something better. Oh, that's fine. Okay, go. Right? Goodbye. Goodbye. Like the only sound when you are compared, the only sound you should hear after being compared is goodbye. Right? Like the only, and that's not to say, and this is, I like to point this out, a compliment, right? A compliment is often like the space, like when somebody, you know the difference between a complimentary comparison, right? You know the difference between a complimentary comparison when somebody is like, well, okay, right? Like the modality by which another person identifies you, like in a way that feels beautiful, versus someone who tries to compare to like see if, like, and here's the thing about it, right? Sometimes someone will try to compare to see what they can get out of you, right? Sometimes, right? Sometimes someone will compare because they're shaking the box, right? And this is feminine that's getting real good at noticing the difference between someone that compares in a space of praise versus someone who compares in the space of shaking the box to see, I wonder if I get a little bit more out of something. I wonder if I get a little bit more out of something if I compare, right? And this is a lot of the energy that again, anything that's trying to compare feminine right now is in for a rude awakening. Because it's the observation of the feminine that says, how dare you, right? It's the modality. And again, because you see what's happening here? Do you see what's happening? What is masculine healing from? Gross assumption, right? What is masculine healing from? The healing from the mortified by the past self's gross assumptions, right? What is feminine healing from? Healing from the trauma by which another person made gross assumptions about them. Do you see the interplay of the energetic lessons? Do you see the interplay of the energetic lessons that are occurring here? So this is what we see. So for masculine, it's a lot more of that working into, right? Working into the vulnerability that allows one to be able to articulate like the space of the understanding of going, right? And the feminine going, okay. So a lot of that energetic feeling coming up now. But again, all to the same way, right? Feminine forgiving themselves for staying in spaces by which they were compared instead of celebrated, right? This is feminine saying, I hold myself, right? I hold myself with more care now. This is the inner child healing of feminine, right? This is feminine taking their inner child and saying, baby, we're not going to stay anywhere that they're comparing you to anything. Like, we're going to go find, come on, you are exquisite. You come with me. You don't listen to them. Now continuing, right? Continuing now back into non-binary energy, we're going to be utilizing the Smith-Waite Centennial deck for the unconscious of non-binary. 3 cards, please. A combination of both, yeah. What do we got here? Oh, both here? Okay. And one more. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah. You can't bring joy to some people's houses. You can't bring joy to some people's houses, is all I keep on seeing. And I want to describe this. The thing about it is, and I want to, like, this is just the energy that, like, let's walk through it, okay? Because, and I got to describe, and this is also like, there's a little bit, there's, I feel like there's a, like, this is so complicated, right? Like, this is very, if you are a reader and you see the way that the cards drew for this, I need to walk through. I feel like there's something that's energetically important that I feel like is happening right now in terms of coming into, right? In terms of coming into the space of being more of the self, right? And I want you to, and I keep on seeing this because you have to understand, right? The shape of trauma, right? The shape of trauma is often, and here's the thing, this is the thing with trauma, right? Trauma never comes out and says, like, hi, I'm trauma, right? it's it's often the work we do to have to identify, oh, it's a trauma, oh, it's trauma, right? Like, it's a trauma situation. And the thing with a trauma situation is it constantly puts you on guard of things, right? And this is some energy that has had to, like, they're healing, like, and this is the thing I keep on seeing, right? There's a misconception. There's a misconception in some healing journeys that says, like, you have to, like, move directly in proportion of, like, the space of, like, challenging the self. But this is a lot of energy that said, like, in order to survive trauma, they had to do the thing that was the hardest to do, which is they had to find a level of compassion for themselves that was literally unrecognizable in the space by which they arrived. Do you know how incredible that type of journey is? Do you know how this is why when you see someone who has survived a trauma environment, the only thing that you should give them is celebration? Because the ability to exist in a space by which there's never been compassion given to you, right? And then you find that compassion, you find that love of the self that moves you away from what you know is not right, is the energy that understands the power of love. And the power of love that is literally present in everything, right? And it's a quiet voice that says, you shouldn't have to go through with that, right? This isn't okay. And that's the thing that's so profound about it, right? Because the modality by which, right, the trauma always wants us to make us feel lower than ourselves, right? What does trauma say? Trauma says, this is what you get, right? That's what trauma says. Trauma says, this is what you get. And you'll be glad about it, right? You'll be glad, like, what does love say, right? We can do better. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way, right? And this is the energy that followed that beautiful, beautiful thread of there's got to be a better way into the realm of the self. And then they followed that instinctually in the space by which they found that better. And it's lonely, right? It's a lonely journey when you go through that. It often feels like you're just following the feeling in your heart and you don't know where it leads, but yet you follow it because you know that that force loves you more than anything and is guiding you to a safe harbor. And this is why the journey of loving ourselves is what leads us to better places, because as we love ourselves, we not only find things within us that keep us able to persevere through difficult conditions, but it's the love that we give to each other as we find each other on those difficult journeys. And so I see that for a lot of the energy, it's working through, right? It's working through the modality of care that they've had have had to effectively arrive to, by which they feel the space by which they wish there was always more that they could give, but their more needs to be proportional in what they can do in the moment. So I feel like that's a lot of the work that I see that energy is trying to do, right? Working through perseverance, right? And doing everything possible and not getting hard on the self if there's others that are judging them in that moment, but being very prescient and recognizing, right? Recognizing the sound of trauma is the blindness that another person has in relationality to what is energetically important, right? Being able to see the full functionality or proportion of the work that we bring to things. So I feel like there's a lot of that work that's working through compassion, and it's not easy, but they're reminding themselves, right? They're reminding themselves that it's not selfish to give compassion to the self. It's actually the most necessary thing, because that allows you to find more of it to give to others. Bottom of the deck on this reading. Whoop, come back here. For the masculine, we're going to be utilizing the Tarot del Fuego, Seven of Pentacles, right? When we try to reach for things too quickly, we make gross assumptions, right? This is why we have to be very conscientious. A good ego, it's not about shedding the ego entirely. It's understanding, right? That like I like to point out, like often the space by which we work through, right? And this is what the thing is, like often, like having a healthy conversation with your ego is usually healthy, right? Because what is the and I like to point this out, the ego is protective only in that it is corrective, right? A healthy ego will not have anything to say about others. It'll usually have notes for the self, right? That's how you can usually tell if your ego is in check, because it wants to straighten itself, right? Oh, like I got to work on that, right? And sometimes there's those modalities by which it's an inside problem. But when the ego, like what's the first thing that the unhealthy ego does, right? When the ego is too overwhelmed, right? It'll move into the ubiquitous them. It's them, right? It's them, right? Who's they? Like who? What is it, right? It's the observation of working through, right? We navigate situations with the assumption of the best intentions, right? Because when we don't, then we become the force that is unrecognizable, right? Who's bringing the weapon into the room? Is it the person? Is it the person? Are you the person doing it? Is your fear that another person has it what's causing you to create it, right? And that's what we often recognize as it relates to the way that we carry ourselves versus, right? Proportion versus escalation. And when masculine recognizes that often their presence is an immediate escalation point, and that has nothing to do with the quality and condition of your soul. That has to do with the ancestral healing that is connected to masculine energy. That unfortunately, we just have to face it. Your presence can often feel like a threat to others, and that's not your fault. It's terrible that you have to experience that. But when you recognize that and you understand, right? When you understand that there are those that are working through things, not because you yourself did it, but because they're working through the trauma of having experienced someone in your form, then you're able to navigate situations with a sense of understanding and compassion, and you carry your form with honor. And what does it mean to honor something? You understand the importance of how you convey it. You understand and recognize the weight of it. And the thing is, things that have honor, they're heavy. Yeah, and that sometimes it sucks. Carrying something with honor can feel very much like a burden, but it's a blessed burden because we understand that any step we take to change the shape and nature of it is how we work to heal all of that experience from the past. With every blessed step, as hard as it is, we are able to effectively ascend and heal in the right direction, but only if we're willing and committed to do that work. And yeah, the work feels thankless. If it wasn't good work, it wouldn't. That's why it's the most blessed work, because it's thankless, right? It's not about getting credit for it. It's because it's the right way to act. It's because it's right? It's not about what we get back. There's nothing that doing the right thing is not what we get back. It's what we know. It's the gift that we give each other by saying that this is a world that we can create with our actions. While for the feminine energy, unconscious of feminine, you see, King of Cups, right? Feminine energy is very aware that they've been hurt by energy with the best intention, right? What is the sound that feminine hears as they're being traumatized? Why won't you let me be nice to you? Why won't you be more appealing to me? Why won't you fit the form that I desire you to be in? Why do you have to be so you? So for the feminine energy, right, the ability of having to navigate the desire of wanting to move towards counterpart, wanting to effectively heal, right, the space by which they themselves have navigated, it has to do with having to work through the observation that those who hurt us are rarely, almost rarely, coming towards us going, I want to hurt you, but saying, why won't you give me something that I enter? Can't you see that I love you? Right? That is literally the last sound that feminine often hears as they're being traumatized, right? The space by which our love does not feel like love if our love is connected to a demand. That's not love. Love is holding and respecting each other's wishes, which is why, right? This is a lot of the feminine that works through the proportionality of conversation and the space by which they potentially articulate and want to build forth into conversation with another, right? The trepidation that they bring forth. This is the feminine that understands that if they encounter connection with trepidation, the healthy energy will not take that offensively, like what we just saw, but will recognize and identify the full reason by which they're finding feminine in that state. While for a non-binary energy, Aquarian, bottom of the deck, whew, that four, man, that four, this four of Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles in its reversal, which is working through, it's working through the observation or the understanding of the space by which, and I feel like I see a lot of this energy that works tirelessly towards things, and not in the space by which they effectively aspire or desire to get credit. Like it's not like I keep on seeing the work that one effectively aims to do. And I want to describe this with like a lot of this like I want to point out with a lot of this Piscean energy that we're experiencing right now, it can feel like there's a lot of things happening at once, right? And the feeling of trying to effectively move something forward can often feel like the space of feeling energetically overwhelmed, right? And I need to point this out. When energy around us sees us navigating a great deal of things, then the way that others effectively navigate and appreciate that is often the articulation and the amplification of the love that they hold for us, right? You'll often see this, right? The space by which another person literally says, like, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff right now. It's like when there's a lot of things happening, right? And you're working through that. And another person says, instead of saying, how dare you, right? They say, how can I help you? Right? That often that is the moment by which the healing begins, right? The modality by which another person sees us working tirelessly, right? And they don't say, oh, it looks like you're busy, right? Like it's not the energy that effectively feels like they, even in the space by which they see you working tirelessly, like when someone sees you working tirelessly, and then as you're working tirelessly, they throw a barb at you, right? There they go. That watch it happen every time. There's that person working tirelessly, and boom, there's that barb, right? There's that barb of someone that says, oh, I guess you're busy, right? What about me? Like it's a lot of that energy that works through that. But the modality that we often experience as it relates to not trying, like when you're working tirelessly and you're not trying to disappoint anybody, right? Often the difference by which another person holds, right? Holds and recognizes that tells us everything that we need to know in relationality to who we hold close to us. But it's hard, right? Because it still hurts, right? Because it often works through the wound of disappointment. So don't allow, if you're working tirelessly and someone's throwing a barb at you, ask yourself, is that actually a compliment? You know, is it something that they're effectively saying, or is it something that they're projecting, right? Because often in that modality, it says much more about them than it does about you. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving these messages. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a private reading with me is if you book one through my site, and I would encourage you to do it there. A couple of pieces of information before we move into personal readings. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who participated in our recent class on the court cards of the Sword Suite. Our next class will be held on Thursday, March 19th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be studying the Cup court cards. And if you'd like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my Stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my Stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a paid monthly subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Class Archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I'll be doing my best to give you an update on everything we've studied before we begin the next class, but the materials are there for you to receive as you're ready to receive them. You'll also have access to a complimentary one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member to my Stack, not only will you receive a discount on the whole year's worth of readings, but you'll also receive a complimentary one-on-one. You'll also have access to over 20 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Class Archive, as well as a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage, moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I try to do in these classes was make them accessible to the most absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. I also will post my Mystic Meditation articles there, which will give you updates on what we've been seeing energetically in the cards. I'm in the process of writing one to navigate this next full moon cycle we've got coming up because it'll be a doozy. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to offer for those who are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, weekly tarot insight packages, which is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey, as well as dream interpretation readings, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. If you purchase this series, I would encourage you to make sure that you are keeping a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow. That is our daily collective read. We are going to get started on personal readings. Congratulations to Kath. You got our highest gifter today. You'll be getting that free reading. And I am a Figment. You came in second, so you'll have an additional card in your read. If anybody else wants to get on the list for today, you will be the third person read for. Absolutely lovely time to get on the list. 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Bing Semi-Lio. Please keep in mind there are two things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. I'm going to take a few minutes to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading, but as I mentioned, if you would like to get on the list today, the list is open. We're also at 23.2K likes. When we get to 50K, I will be gifting a reading back to the collective, so make sure you're tapping that screen. We'll get to 50K in no time. I got you on the list, Avatar. Didn't I think I called you on the list, right? Can you just confirm? Absolutely. Is this close to your spread you got yesterday? And thank you so much, Israel, welcome from Ghana. Thank you for joining us, dear. And thank you for anybody who's joining us across the other apps. If you also want to get on the list today, all you need to do is send the donation via my tree that has Binks in it in my Lio, and I'll be happy to add you to the list as well. You're not too late, Ryan. And thank you, Alicia, for the follow. Yes, Gemini today is the moon. Thank you for confirming, Pisces. And thank you, Sheena, for the follow. Hi there, Felicia. I'm happy to read for you. If you'd like to get on the list, list is open. You'll be the third person read for. A lot of associations for Hangman with Neptune. Absolutely. Thank you for confirming as well. Absolutely. How you doing today, Viva? Good to see you, dear. Excellent. A frog is basically a water dragon. Oh, Nikki, you crack me up. Absolutely. And thank you for those heart puffs, Jana. I appreciate you. I know it's an intense spread today. I wouldn't expect anything. The expresses. Yeah, totality was an Antarctica. The thing could see it. Hooray! Love that. Very true. And thank you, Annie, for sharing the live. Good to see you, dear. Hope you're well. Aries is direct, literally. A lot. Yep, absolutely. Just reading over. And Sheena, thank you for the follow. Thank you as well, Mamo. Yeah, Gemini, thank you for confirming the moon's in Gemini today. Yeah, in this spread, I can see it. Angela and NJ, thank you for the follow. And happy accidents, exactly. It's okay if you don't have coins, Priest. We just finished the daily collective. We're about to get started on personals. And Ramson, thank you for the follow. And I'm really interested, Alicia. If you were a subscriber, I would encourage you to post your picture of your spread over on our Disco channel. Good to see you today, Per and JK. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for reposting, Darlene, and thank you, Pokre, for the follow. If I'm ever saying your name incorrectly, please feel free to correct me. Rihanna, yes, that's where I'm moving into, protective love. I literally pulled the Fool in reverse as you did. You did? Man, I like it though. This is what I told you. We're healing Aries right now, right? Like it's the space by which, right? Like Aries energy is not pugnacious by nature. It's protective, right? It's being able to work towards protecting the inner child. Everybody plays the Fool. Yeah. Good to see you, Ryan. Margaret, welcome. Hi there. How you doing, Harmony? And Pod, thank you for the follow. Right? It's an intense spread, Hecate, right? And thank you for becoming a member of my fan club, dear. Good to see you today. And thank you for confirmation. The number you have dialed is unavailable. I love that. I literally posted that. Thank you, Rihanna. And Spiritual, thank you for the follow. Hi, Ivana. Good to see you today. Absolutely. And thank you, Carol, for the follow. Yeah, to keep a sense of love after all. That's beautiful, Rihanna. Continue on that journey. Love is not trauma. Absolutely. Human touch mentality. And Ash Rising, thank you for the follow as well. Yep, why won't you be more perfect for me? Exactly. Yeah, why do you have to have those flaws? Because they're facets. Absolutely. Yeah, your feelings are getting in the way of me being able to take advantage of you. Oh my God, amazing, Kay. You're making me uncomfortable by being vocal about how you feel. Oh my goodness. Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys for supporting each other in the comments. Yep. Beautifully stated. I sent you 5 million cups of tea on the disco. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Grand Rising, Ella, good to see you today, dear. And thank you, Karen, for the follow. Thank you, Kath, for the gifts. I appreciate you. And good to see you. Senya, so you're welcome to ask questions here, but if you want cards pulled related to a question, all you need to do is send a donation if you'd like to get on the list. Okay? We are going to get started on personal. It's 3 cards for anybody interested. It's 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. I'm just going to take a moment. So the list right now, I'm going to confirm the list for anybody who is looking to get on the list. If you are on the list, if you sent the donation and I have not named you, then please give me the initial that you sent the donation through, not the full name of the place. The apps hate to hear about other apps. Just the initial is fine. The listings, the list I have right now is Amy and Kath. So if you get on the list right now, you will be the 3rd person read for. We are going to get started. And also, if you're on the hold list and would like to be added back to the list, all I need you to do is let me know the date that you are added to the hold list, and I'll be happy to add you back as well. The first person we're reading for today is going to be Amy. Amy, if you're here, can you respond in all caps and let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer? And also, friends, we are at 26.4K likes. When we get to 50K, I will be gifting a reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen and we'll get to 50K in no time. Hi there, dear. Before we get started on your reading, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal spirit guide cards here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the blackbird. We'll do it again after the next reading. All right. Well done. Look at you, Figment. Look at that. All right, let's get to it. Goose, animal, or swan, Nikki? I can't. All right, where'd I keep losing. I had it. Can't find my scarf. All right, it's fine. It's fine. All right. I'm going to pin up Avatar here. Guys, make sure to give Avatar some love. And if anybody else wants to get on the list right now, it's a beautiful time to get on the list. All right, who is this person? All right, fine. All right, we're getting a read on, one sec. Where'd the thing go? All right. Four cards. They a little psychic? What's going on with them? Okay, hold on a minute. One more. Yeah. Mm. I feel like honestly, like I got it's interesting, right? Because it feels like it was like super out of the blue. Um, I keep on hearing like somebody who I keep on hearing someone say I was thinking of you, and they just follow their intuition to the hilt. You know, like I literally I mean there's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of cards that I'm identifying here in relationality, and I don't know if it feel like if you have a history with this person, you know, I feel like one of the things I'm seeing, and I got to point this out, like this eclipse energy can bring the past back, um, in a big way. And I feel like I see somebody who's like I see somebody deeply in some kind of soul searching, you know, and it's giving me like they're soul searching. I wouldn't be surprised if they recently lost someone, is what I'm getting to. Because I feel like I see somebody that's thinking a lot, like something has got them in the mood by which they're really thinking heavily about making, I keep hearing like trying to like make right with things, or trying to come into the space by which by which they try to articulate upon the fact that something that they did, like they regret. I don't know why I keep on getting like something, it's not even what they did but what they didn't do, you know what I mean? Like it's that type of overthinking, and I feel like I don't know why I keep on hearing, but it almost feels like the energy, like the word I keep on hearing related to something is careless, you know. I keep on hearing someone say that they almost want to say that they recognize that they're careless with you, which is the space by which when you are like it says to me like they weren't thinking about what they were putting you through, or they weren't thinking about how you potentially experience something, you know. There's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of gravitas there, and I feel like I don't think I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it. I mean, I see somebody who's like almost in a way trying to come towards you in a light fashion, specifically because like it says to me like they're trying to come to you in a light fashion to hopefully build into an opportunity by which they can like by which they want to be able to convey the fact that I feel like they took somebody. I don't know. I keep on hearing like I don't like I don't know why I keep on getting the feeling like there's someone around them that recently passed, you know, because I just keep on seeing this person that's reaching out to you, but they're very, very deeply connected to spirit right now. And it feels like there's something that they experienced in spirit that shook them, you know? Like it's that type of energy. Like I don't know why I'm getting this. Like I'm hearing like I'm getting something about a dream here. Like I'm getting here like a dream where someone said, get right with them, you know, which is interesting. Because I don't like, and I keep on getting, it almost feels like they had a, like, and again, I'm getting a dream by which someone came towards them and said, you better get right with them. And them saying, how do you know anything about that? And they're going, I'm over here now. I know everything. Right? Like, it's like that. Right? It's like that. When I'm getting something about somebody feeling shaken about something, you know, like I keep on hearing shaken and awaken, which is the space by which it almost feels like there's someone in spirit. Like, and I'll do like I've read on I've sometimes seen this. Like sometimes when someone crosses over into spirit, the first thing they'll do is show up to someone and be like, I'm here to deliver a wake up call, is what I'm getting. Like somebody being like, I'm here to deliver a wake up call, which is I almost feel like I see somebody trying to articulate to someone like what they need to effectively go about changing, or why it's so important for them to do so. Because this is these are some really intense cards I'm seeing here. But I feel like it's the space by which I wouldn't be surprised if this person like came, like reached out to you out of the blue and said something like, I was just thinking about you. Because I'm like, it's funny because I keep wondering, they're saying I was thinking about you, but what I'm hearing is we were just talking about you, because it feels like somebody in spirit. Like, I don't know where I'm getting, like, I keep on getting someone in spirit who said to them, you know, you better get right with that, is what I keep on seeing. Like, that wasn't okay. And I feel like hearing somebody getting shaken, like someone getting shaken from someone in spirit, articulating upon the fact that they recognize that they did something that they themselves should not have known, is what I keep on hearing. Because there is like I keep on hearing there's a new guide around them, and this new guide is like this new guide is not putting, like, it's like it's saying to me, like they're like, I just keep on seeing the guide being like I keep on hearing the guide say, if I'd only known when I was there. Like it feels like somebody who takes a lot of personal responsibility for someone acting, like someone someone on in the side of spirit who takes a lot of personal responsibility in terms of another person moving in honorable fashion, is what I keep on getting. I want to give you some bottom of the deck information on this, so something to keep in mind going forward. It feels like it feels ancestral. It feels energetically connected. And I feel like the thing I keep on seeing, and I don't know, I feel like it was a situation, like, I don't know why I keep on hearing they snapped at you, right? Or something about them. Like, I feel like there was some kind of situation by which you were trying to get clarity, and I see them instead of being reactive to you. And I keep on hearing somebody go, like, work through, or trying to say, like, they didn't, like, that's why I keep on hearing someone, like, articulating upon a carelessness, because I almost see somebody who is potentially being more, like, they're trying to be more conscientious with how they come across, right? And this is often, I like to point this out, when we come from, I often see this with individuals that have very close familial connections, because the hard part is when we have a close familial connection, we assume that there is a level of discord that we can reach with one another that we feel like is comfortable, but another person finds unacceptable. And that's why I keep on seeing that somebody in spirit is taking responsibility for that. Because I keep on seeing that they're saying, I'm personally responsible for that. I created the environment by which that person thought something was okay. which is why it almost feels like I said, I'd be very curious if someone around them has recently crossed into spirit, because I just keep on seeing someone who's like, I now have the ability, like I see them being like, they're like, I now have the ability to take a level of responsibility to their healing that I didn't have before. And the only time I usually see something like that is if there's somebody in spirit that's stepping up as a guide, like a guide, whether they desire them to or not, is what I keep on getting. And that's often when I can usually tell it's ancestral, because ancestral is like, I am here, like much like, like ancestral guides are like, I'm here. Yeah, I don't care if you like it or not. Like, oh no, here's my coat, right? Here, take this. No, yeah, oh I know, I got a lot of stuff. I know you weren't expecting me. It's fine. Like it's that type of energy, right? Like that's only the way, like the way only an ancestral guide can introduce themselves, which is basically like, I'm here whether you like it or not. Like, I'm starved. What are we having for lunch? Kind of energy. Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you'd like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers, being semi-lio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings. They're like not good at apologizing, right? I don't know why, but there's like some kind of degree of sheepish. I keep on seeing someone be like, hi, like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like that type of energy. All right, we're going to continue right now. The next person we're reading for today is Calf, but if you'd like to get on the list right now, it's a lovely time. Yeah, you can, like, I keep on hearing like the high, which is like, they didn't want to lead with the, like, it's like, I feel like somebody's like trying to build up to the opportunity of having that, like building up the courage to issue an apology is what I keep on getting. It's like that type of thing, you know? The next person we're reading for today is Calf. Calf, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And if anybody else would like to get on the list today, it's actually a lovely time to get on the list. You'll be the next person read for. 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers, being semi-lio. Please keep in mind, there are 2 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also at 28.2K likes. When we get to 50K, I'll be gifting a reading back to the collective, so make sure you're tapping the screen. We'll get to 50K in no time. And just reading over the comments that I got through that reading. Yes, I do. Hi, Bridget. How you doing today? Hold on, just reading back up. Raj, thank you for the follow, dear. Well, excellent. I was attempting to use my intuition. I don't know why I said stork initially. I mean, there's a crane, which is like a stork. I'm funny. Yep. Yeah, everything is, yep, believe so. And Mambo, thank you for the follow. It was, and short. Yeah. Hi there, dear. Thank you for sharing the live, Bridget. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. It's comforting. Oh my gosh, very interesting. They were careless for a while. Yes. How you doing, Per? Good to see you. Yeah, you have no choice in this matter. Like, that's always an ancestral guide thing. Like, how you doing? Very much so. Hi, Kath. How are you doing today? Yes. Okay, their energy and current situation. Okay. I got you. Okay. Well, first things first, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. Bear with me a moment. I've got the animal spirit guide cards here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I'll reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the hawk. Thank you for participating. We'll do that after the next reading. Very, very close, Kath. I always think it's a good sign when the person who's about to get the reading gets close to the animal spirit guide card. And before we continue right now, I'm going to pin up Kath. Guys, make sure to give Kath some love. And just a reminder, if you want to get on the list right now, it is a wonderful time to get on the list. You'll be the next person read for. The list is nice and short if you want to secure a spot on it. Can I please get... Yep, 4. Thank you. Yeah. And one more. Wow. I see somebody like really going through it. You know? Like I feel like it might be somebody I feel like I see somebody like trying to put a brave face on something. But like what I'm identifying here is I keep on here like a lot. This is not someone who's inclined to ask for help on things. You know what I mean? This is a type of person that like, you know, like like the fact that like it's like through gritted teeth is what I keep on getting. You know? Like I feel like I feel like there's something that has happened that's making it really hard for them to find hope in things. You know? And it's interesting too, because there's some kind of like I'm picking up on some kind of air of betrayal around them. Not them. Like not them, but something that happened to them. Or something that's happening in relationality to their friends or somebody that they feel like they knew. You know, like it almost says to me like they're seeing the sides, like something about where they are. They're seeing the ugly side of like I feel like they're seeing the ugly side of energy that they didn't like. And I like to point this, like I don't know if this person has Leo placements, but I often see this type of energy around Leo energy, because here's the thing with Leo energy, like when Leo energy sees the ugly side of someone, it literally feels like that person is gone. You know what I mean? Like, and when I say gone, I mean they literally, like, Leos will mourn somebody. They'll mourn the person that they thought another person was before they saw that ugly side of them, right? Right? Because it's working through, like, and that's the hard part about it. Like when Leos have Leos, like you meet a Leo or someone with Leo placements, Leo will be like, I'm so exhausted and mourning people that are still here, right? Because it's the space by which they carry the grief in their hearts in relationality to seeing someone else succumb to their fear, right? Like, and that's the thing with that, that's what happens with Leos. They'll be like, there they go. No, they've crossed over, right? Leos will be like, there they are. Yeah, no, they not with us anymore. They passed? No, they didn't pass. They succumb to their fear, right? And they don't, like, that's why, like, Leos don't hold hatred to those that they see, even though somebody will hate, like Leo will be like, there they are. They succumb to their fear. I wish they were here with us, right? Like that's often how a Leo navigates things. So I see somebody right now, and it feels like some kind of close circle or group, right? Like something that is happening that is bringing out something really horrifically ugly, like something horrifically, like the space by which, like, I just keep on seeing like the savagery, or seeing, and this is what's often hard, like when Leo's seeing, like, that's why I don't know what this person's signs are, but that's why I keep wondering, it's feeling very Leo in here, because when a Leo sees that ugly part of a person, right, it's almost like, how could, how could you, like, it feels like a betrayal, like it literally feels like a betrayal to the Leo, because the Leo's like, how was that there the whole time? Was that under, like, was that under your floorboards, right? That was under your floorboards this whole time that I knew you? You were just waiting for the opportunity to drag that out here, right? Like, it's mortifying. And so I literally see somebody who's potentially, like, I feel like I see a lot of isolation, like I see a lot of isolation and a lot of separation, because I feel like the energy that they used to talk to, they can't, I keep on hearing, like, it's literally giving me some kind of feeling of disgust. Like, I see somebody being like, I see somebody saying, like, I can't speak to them anymore. I can't speak to them. I keep on hearing them say, I can't speak to them anymore, knowing that was one, like that. And I keep on saying that they're going, I can't believe I was standing there with them the whole time with all of that under their floorboards, is what I keep on hearing them say. I can't believe I was standing there the whole time. And the whole time I was standing there with them, like, that was under the floorboards, and now it's coming up, right? I literally see somebody that's like working through, like, the feeling of energetic disgust, potentially in relationality to someone who's like showing a side of themselves that, right, like that another person is absolutely mortified to identify there. So I feel like, it's interesting too, because when you said to me, can they really help? I would say it'd be good for them to do, like, it would be good for them, like, it would be good for them. I feel like I see somebody that's like, please give me something positive. Like, please give me something energetically positive to do. Like, give me something to do with these hands, right? Is almost what I'm seeing around something. I keep on hearing somebody saying, like, give me something good to do with these hands so I can clean them, is all I keep on hearing. That's what they're not saying. They're saying, give me something good to do with these hands so that I can clean them, which is the space by which I keep on seeing, like, they're trying to effectively, like, separate from something that's mortified them. And I keep on seeing, like, they're trying to say, like, if like they're trying to, like, I see them, like, trying to effectively find something energetically positive to move toward. So and it's funny thing. I think it's interesting because you said, can they? I see you being like, can they help? And I think it's more them saying, they, like, I feel like I see somebody being like, I need to do, like, I see somebody being like, I need something positive to do. Like, I keep wondering, I need a positive hobby, or I need something beautiful. Like, I see somebody saying, I need something beautiful to remind me that there are still beautiful things here, is what I keep on getting, right? I see somebody looking for beauty desperately. Bottom of the deck on this reading. And this is again, like, the thing about it, and this is why I'm going to say it again with this, like, I don't know if this person, Again, I'm not going to make the presumption that this energy has Leo placements, but it feels very Leo in here because Leos don't make a big deal when they retreat from situations like that. They're not like here's the thing about it, like they're not like Aries, you know. They're not like they're not like Aries that is like, for you, like screw you, you're cool, screw you, like they're not gonna make like a big, they're not gonna make a big like thing. They're not like Scorpio. They're not gonna try to do a coup de grace. You know what I mean? Like Scorpio being like, shut up, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, tell them it was me. Tell them it was me, right? Like Leos don't do that. Leos leave things with dignity, and the reason Leos leave things with dignity is because they're grieving. You know, Leos never make a big exit. You know, you'll notice this. Leos never make a grand display of exiting, right? When they're grieving. And the reason they leave with dignity is because they're grieving, right? Right? They're working into the space by which they're like, you know, they're like it's a quiet, it's like, and I feel like in a way I almost see somebody who's like working through a grieving process, but the grieving process they're feeling has to do with some of the energy not being like, I feel like it's them saying, like seeing somebody around them being like, not like, you know, like I keep on hearing like they're looking for something, like and I don't think that they're going to communicate this, but it says to me like they're working into the space by which they're trying to begin again. But I keep wondering, they're trying to begin again because they're trying to find hope, and I'm trying to remember that I keep wondering, they're trying to remember there are still good people out there, right? Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you'd like to get on the list, it's a great time to get on the list. You'll be the next person read for. 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers, links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. One moment, please. Hi there, Alexandra. Good to see you today. Oh, you were thinking of a flying bird. Well, that's them right now. Yeah. Yeah, before we spoke, they said that they're kind of lonely. Yeah, he rather help someone instead of, exactly. I already thought that he's trying to move on from something or someone. Thank you for confirmation. Yeah, you said they literally stated some people or friends have disappointed them. Oh, thank you for also supporting each other in these comments. Yeah, it's interesting because it's like I don't know where the Leo placement is, but it was feeling like a very heavy Leo reading. This is so true. I can relate to this situation so much. It's like, well, I tried. Exactly. And GN, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I can relate to this too. Yeah, it's shocking. That's why. Like, how did I miss this? Yeah, it seems like they've isolated themselves. Yeah, communication gets strained for sure. And oddly, thank you for the follow. Yeah, that's why he said he's willing to help. Yeah, I keep on hearing, like, I feel like I see somebody saying, like, help me remember that there's still good people in this world. All I know is he's Aries sun. Oh, interesting. Aries, like an older Aries, I need to point out sometimes an older Aries gets real Leo. Let's just talk about it. And intriguingly, as all the cards fall, intriguingly, an older Leo gets real Aries. That's what's funny about it, you know? Like, that's the funny part. You know, an Aries starts feeling like awful Leo, and Leo's always like, "Oh, look, claws. Where did these claws come from? Oh, I forgot I had these." You know, like, yep, absolutely. All I know, yep. Yeah, I mean, Scorpio can't help it. Scorpio is always like, "Shut up." You know? Scorpio has never learned what a quiet exit is in all of, it's the tail, you know? You just can't help it. Like that. It's gotta do its little thing, that you gotta leave room for the Scorpio's tail, It's gotta just step back as they're leaving, And one more thing. I feel like he's grieving the whole time. Yeah, when he's in hermit mode. But that's what I keep on getting, right? Like that type of hermit mode that you're seeing someone in is healing, right? It's a healing hermit energy, you know? Yeah, but he won't share any of that. No, like that. No, this person would no, not even, not if you can torture that out of that person is what I was seeing, you know? You're welcome, dear. Oh, that's so cool, Bridget. I just heard my reactions from my top three. Aries, Leo, Scorpio. Same. I'm back. Welcome back, Kay. Yeah, you got it here. Absolutely. I mean, again, like, there's nothing like I've got a soft spot for Scorpios, but like a healed Scorpio is a beautiful thing, right? But like, it's absolutely wonderful. It's because a healed Scorpio is like they know themselves, they're like they can't help it, but at least they take ownership of it. They're like, ta-da! Instead of like, no, they're like, ta-da! No problem, dear. Well, I was going to say the list is now open. If anybody else wants to get on the list, you'll be the next person read for. It's 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. While we wait for the next, in the meantime, we're going to get started on 1-card readings for superfans. So if you're a superfan and you have a question, go ahead and put your question in the comments. I'll be happy to answer it. If you'd like to become a superfan, just hit the superfan button down there, and your superfan status will make you eligible for a 1-card. I got you, Kay. Yeah, yep. 1 card for Kay in relationality to that situation. I mean, it feels to me like you could cut a knife with the feelings between you, right? It's saying to me like, yeah, like I literally see somebody that's like, like moving away from something with alacrity because it's like they don't know how to navigate the intensity, right? Animal spirit guide. Yeah, I keep on hearing, have they gotten jumpy? It's like, is jumpy. Is it jumpy here, or is it just me? Is what I keep on getting. Is it jumpy here, or is it just me? I almost like I feel like it's somebody who like doesn't feel like they can like it's like what do I do with these feelings? And guys, we've got another read come in, so please hold if you haven't put your question up. We're gonna get back to personals. Thank you, dear. I got you on the list. Okay. 1 card angelic for Ivana, please. I feel like I see you healing from a lot of situations by which another person is like an unhealed person will make their emotions your responsibility. Yeah, especially like this Fool card and its reversal today is everywhere, right? It's not fair, but being aware of the unfairness is how we effectively heal from it, right? Like when when someone is not being responsible for their emotions, they'll often feel this space by which they try to hold another person accountable, like responsible for them, you know? Like I keep on getting energy would there's some people that would rather like energy would rather like unhealed energy would rather believe that something magical is happening rather than go to therapy, which is the space by which they can't take ownership for their emotions, but they try to effectively project onto you because they're feeling things that they haven't felt before, you know? Animal spirit guide, yeah, especially with the boar, right? Like it's saying to me like that I like to point out like the observation, like and I feel like even in the space by which you're saying don't worry, if you're experiencing that, spirit hates that. There's like, and especially angelics, that is the space by which an angelic articulates and says that the modality by which we carry our emotions with honor is how we heal. So like wondering, don't carry anxiety about that. Give that to your guide. Your guide is working into the space of helping you heal from experiences by which another person made you feel that they're like you were at fault for the way that they could not navigate like their own their emotional irregularity is their fault. It has nothing to do with you, is what I keep on seeing. One card, highest priority for Ella, please. Like I keep on hearing plans like like we don't build into like we give each other we when we prioritize, then we're energetically mindful in helping each other with plans, which is the modality by which another person recognizes that you have a lot of things happening, right? You're not, you don't just exist to keep another person on track, is what I keep on getting. Yeah, and there's that Fool card in its reversal, right? Which is not like it's the space by which like, and this is why I keep on seeing that like the work we do to effectively keep each other, I keep wondering, we keep each other up to speed, right? We keep each other up to speed. We don't, we don't we don't get mad at each other that things slip off of our radar, is what I keep on hearing. Animal spirit guide. Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like it's giving me the type of energy of someone, like it's giving me like somebody who wants to hurt their own feelings will not remind you of something and then have something to feel angry about, right? It's like it's the space by which I keep wondering, we don't create booby traps for each other in relationality of saying like, oh, I'll see if they remember, right? We say, I wanted to remind you, is what I keep on hearing. Like that's how we support each other, is what I keep on getting. So just be conscientious of that, you know? All right, and I've got you, Ava, one card, Akashic. A lot of things can be happening under the surface, is what I keep on seeing. And I feel like I feel like there's something important that's happening right now in relationality to following your purpose that leads to divine counterpart. Yeah, right? Like often the journey of finding divine counterpart is not the space by which we seek them, but we seek ourselves. So being able to be patient and to trust your journey that is bringing you into energetic alignment, right? We can't miss anything that's for us, is what I keep on seeing. And I feel like it's interesting because I feel like, I don't know why, but I keep on feeling you and another person are ruminating upon a misconnection. Animal spirit guide. Yeah. I keep on hearing the universe isn't cruel like that. The universe is energetically patient. So don't be hard on yourself. Just continue to work towards something. Like everything, I keep hearing, like everything you're doing right now is moving you in the right direction, right? And I know even if it doesn't, I keep wondering, even if it doesn't feel like that, just let the intention guide you. Thank you so much. And I keep on hearing like you can articulate, like you can articulate that, you know? Like you can articulate, I keep hearing you can, I don't know why I'm hearing you can articulate that in your manifestation. One moment, please. I got you on the list, Stevie. You're the next person. I will ask that anyone who hasn't posted a question yet, please hold. One card. Ooh. One card for Chrissy on that connection. Come out of nowhere. I see somebody working through exhaustion. You know, bottom of the Jack. Yeah, I see somebody who has a tendency of like working through their problems, but I keep on hearing sometimes working through problems, like it's like somebody who needs to rest a bit more. Yeah, like an active mind. You know, like somebody who keeps themselves busy, um, to kind of like help through something is what I keep on seeing. Um, like I don't know if there's something that this person does in terms of like working out things, like working out things in the context of like trying to get something down or trying to externalize it. But I almost feel like I see somebody that's like really focused on something they're doing right now in the space by which like, and that's where like that yawn came out of nowhere, like like pushing against their exhaustion so that they can rest, if that makes sense. Per one trailer, one card on last night's stream. Oh, you guys drive with the dreams with the one cards, right? Like the dreams with the one cards. It's a prelude, right? A trailer, like a trailer is a prelude, right? So it's working through, and again, it's really hard to do a dream interpretation with one card, but it's working through, um, like you having completed an energetic cycle is almost working through, and it's interesting too because I keep on hearing who is in the room with you. Were you watching something? Were you watching something? Were you choosing for yourself, or was there someone there with you in the space of the dream by which you were choosing? Animal spirit guide. Yeah, especially with Earth Dragon energy. You know, like I feel like there's a lot of that work that I'm seeing in relationality to, I don't know. I don't know if this was an issue between you and your past connection where you never got a chance to choose what you would watch. I keep on hearing someone who's invested in wanting to watch the things that you want to watch, not just the things that they want to watch, is what I keep on hearing. Thank you, dear. I got you, Stevie. We're both in the same boat. You're so welcome, dear. Yep, we're actually about to get started back on personals. Oh, Rainbow. I'm sending so much support to you. I hope it was peaceful. I hope you're doing well too. You're so welcome, Ivana. I know, it's sad. It's very sad. You're so welcome, Ella. And thank you for getting on the list, Per, as well. All right, you're welcome. My Capricorn moon rests in a way that moves our goals forward. That's a beautiful way of describing it, Rainbow. Julia, highest guidance on the phone call. Oh. It says to me it's something positive, right? I keep wondering, just be your authentic self. Yeah, especially with especially with the Tower card in its reversal. Like talk. I keep wondering, talk about potential experiences, or talk about the things that you would like that you're working on, is what I keep on seeing, right? Like being able to articulate upon. I keep on hearing like being able to I keep on hearing. I keep on hearing, not saying I'm waiting, but saying I'm in the process. Is what I keep on hearing. No waiting, saying I'm in the process. That's coming through really strongly. Yeah, the same, like this hair does not want to stay in the deck right now, right? You're not waiting on anything. You're in the process, right? I've got you on the list, Per. What's the question you have, Alexandra? On their emotionality right now. Had an odd dream. I've got you. You know, when you've got a me against the world mentality, and then you like it's always like you are the one that arrives, like this is why when we are defensive, then we become the source of another's anxiety, is all I keep on hearing. Bottom of the deck, yeah. When we are defensive, then we become the source of another person's anxiety, right? It's like it's a space by which, like, when we don't navigate our fear effectively, right? It often creates a space by which others are fearful of us, right? So I almost feel like I see somebody, like I feel like you experience this from someone. Like I feel like you recognize that, you know? Animal spirit, we can't heal each other of our fear, right? It's not it often like it and it's often the saddest thing, right? The most afraid person you meet is often the most dangerous, for this reason, right? The most afraid person you meet is often the most dangerous, because they're looking at the world as threat, and they're failing to recognize that they are the threat because of their perception. And thank you for the follow, Tina. Oh, you got him too. Excellent. Welcome to it's fun. I like it. I like it. I like it, Stevie. Thank you for the follow, Donald. And Tina, thank you for the follow. You're so welcome, Julia. These are one card readings for super fans. So if you'd like to become a super fan, I'm happy to read for you. But we're going to pause right now on the one cards and move back into personals. Yaz, one card on insight on when to meet. Timing is always tricky with tarot. So when is that going to occur, please? I see somebody who's getting better at understanding what they're looking for. You know, I feel like I see somebody who's healing, that understands that counterpart connection does not get in the way of healthy counterpart connection does not stand in the way of our purpose. But I also see somebody who's carrying a lot of wounds in that direction, right? Like I see somebody who has had to navigate the space by which another person has tried to tell. I keep on hearing like they're sensitive about coming into connection, because they're in the process of trying to do something and having to heal from somebody who is trying to make their purpose feel petty, or trying to insist that, like, I keep on hearing someone say, like, who do you think you are following your dreams like that? It's that type of energy. Animal spirit guide, you're healing that too, though, right? I see that you guys are both in very similar situations. So you're going to find this person in the process of following your dreams, because they're going to be doing that too. And it feels very close. It feels like it's in very close proximity to you, because those are very direct cards. Yeah, the wolf card made a lot of sense with that. I'm so glad. Fairy, as I mentioned, these are one card readings for subscribers if you want to have a one card, but we're about to get started on personals. Just a reminder, we've got, if you want to get on the list right now, you'll be the fourth person read for. The list we have right now is Stevie, Per, and Angelic. If anybody else wants to get on the list right now, you'll be the fourth person read for. Okay, I apologize if I missed the ones that were stated. Let me just go back. So thank you for confirming. I got you, Rainbow. So I'm looking for Minnie, Bridget, and Rainbow's questions. Thank you, Ivana, for joining us. All right. I'm looking. Jess, thank you for the follow. Minnie, one card on the energy surrounding getting through this. Don't worry about perfect, worry about done. Yeah, don't worry about perfect, worry about done. You can refine it after you've created it, right? You can refine it after you've created it. Just get it. I keep on hearing getting it down or telling others to get it down. Yeah, like don't like I just keep on hearing the same message. Don't let perfect get in the way of done. Just create it. You can refine it later, or saying that to someone, especially if someone is getting too, right? Like, especially if someone's getting too, like, focused on the details of something. I don't think your question came through, Rainbow. I'm not seeing it, dear. I'm looking back on it right now. No, nor do I see Bridget's. I'm just double checking. Oh, I got it. One card for Bridget. Highest priority. Yeah, you might have to repost, Rainbow. I didn't see yours come through. Got it. I'm done with work, so I can hang out now. Yeah, I feel like there's something, like, I feel like I keep on seeing, it's interesting because I keep on seeing you having to say to somebody, I'm here to help but not to fix, is what I keep on getting. I'm here to help but not to fix. Those are different things, right? Yeah, I'm here to help but not to fix, which is trying to say to somebody, this is what I can do and this is what I can't do, right? Like the observation of saying, like, like, these are all the ways I can assist to something, but I can't fix it for you, right? Like, I keep wondering, we give each other tools. We don't ask each other to do things, is what I keep on hearing. Animal spirit guide, yeah, the seal, right? This is what I can do, right? The observation of being able to understand and recognize you moving a conversation into a productive place. When you're saying this is what I can do, the sound you should hear is thank you, right? Not how dare you, right? The observation of another person recognizing and understanding, like, respective of your own energetic limits, even in the space of you doing everything you can. I got it there. I see it now, Rainbow. Thank you. Progress on the shadow work guidance, Rainbow. Absolutely. I feel like you're doing. I feel like I see you putting a lot of work into not being reactive, but telling someone, like, but articulating upon, like how, I keep wondering, instead of being reactive, articulating upon, like I keep on saying, like asking someone to clarify is what I keep on, like, let me just make, like, I almost see you saying like something that you would have been reactive for, like, you almost saying like, I want to make sure I understood what you said, right? Like that's often how we navigate our reactivity. Like we repeat it back, right? We say to another person, let me just be clear on what I just heard, right? And often, like, yeah, there you go, like the like I keep on hearing you healing, I keep on hearing healing the shadow with the healing the shadow with the double spoken word, which is the modality by which we receive something and being like, I just want to make sure I understand this properly, and repeating something back to another in a way by which you like remove the facade of it and being like, am I clear in terms of what you're saying there, right? Like that is often, like that's often the space by which we can effectively recognize and make sure that we're on the same page, and we're not, like I keep on hearing, like, right, we're not reading into things, but being like, let's just be clear in terms of what you're saying right now, right? Animal spirit guide. Yeah, like that, like again, like just so we're clear, right? Just so we're clear. Just so we're clear, right? So thank you, dear. The second card, it was the Hierophant, right? Like it's, yeah. And Rez, thank you for the follow. You're welcome, Yaz. I don't know why when I see Den of Wands, I just want to say, but like it often, like, it's interesting that you say that, right? Because like often we recognize, like I like to point this out. And I often, like, I'm looking forward to talking about when we do the minor arcana. The Ten of Wands often says to us when we're trying to do the impossible, right? Remember, like when like things take time, and the more that we carry, the slower, the slower things need to move, right? Which is not letting ourselves get frustrated when we're trying to do something, when there's a lot of moving parts to something, but just working into the space of understanding that that's the nature of trying to do something great, if that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. You're so welcome, dear. I have a question for the tarot classes. If I subscribe, am I able to see the previous classes? So the way it works, Ivana, thank you for asking. If you become a monthly subscriber, if you choose to become a monthly subscriber to the tarot program, you will have access to the most recent 9 classes. So whatever the most recent 9 classes are, your monthly subscription allows you to have access to the most recent class and 8 preceding. If you become a founding member, not only you will have access to over 20 of those classes. So you'll have access to the classes that we have as well as 20, and the opportunity of receiving a complimentary mentorship class with me. So I hope that clarifies. Cool. You're welcome, dear. And lady, thank you for the follow. How is that about shadow work, though? Well, it says to me, like, the space by which the shadow work is occurring there is, I keep on seeing the reactivity in building into the presumption of what another person meant instead of what they potentially said, is what I was interpreting in what I was reading for. So the space by which we don't, the space by which we don't jump to the conclusion, but we reaffirm our conclusion before we make intentional direction, if that makes sense. Okay, you're welcome, dear. All right, we're going to continue. The next person on the list is Stevie. Stevie, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And if anybody else would care to get on the list right now, it's a great time to get on the list. You'll be the 4th person read for. 3 cards for a donation of $29 and sending you so much support. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself right now, Rainbow, and sending, and again, my deepest condolences. All right, and the next person we're reading for right now, if anybody else wants to get on the list, you'll be the 4th person read. Strega, don't you dare. No, no, no. Hold on, I have to go. Don't, I have to go take care of something. 1 second. And we'll get started. Stevie, you're the next person on the list. Just give me a minute. Stop it. What's going on, Stevie? No. Don't be naughty. Jeez Louise. Okay? Get away from there. No, get off. Now you have to come say hello to everybody. We've talked about this. Yeah, I don't want to hear it. Now you got to say hi. Stop being naughty. All right, you want to say hello to everybody? Why are you naughty? Water bottle. I know. Okay, there she is. All right, now behave. Okay, there we go. All right, let's get to it. Yeah, she is. She's like, if I'm not, I don't know if this is, maybe I'm giving her, she's like, oh, every time I do something naughty, I get on camera. It's like not the best. I am a good mother. All right, where are we? I know. Oh, I know. All right, let's get to it. The next person we're reading for today is Stevie. Stevie, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And as I mentioned, if you'd like to get on the list right now, it's a lovely time to get on the list. You'll be the 4th person read for. 1 moment. 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers, Binks and Lio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I don't read for across these apps, pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We do here highest priority messages from spirit, life path, mediumship, dream interpretation, angelic guidance, animal spirit guide readings, pet readings, akashic, and mind, body, spirit. If you have information that you feel is necessary for the purposes of our reading, if you have a dream, don't eat that. If you have a dream that you would like interpreted, or if you have a past life you would like more you'd like to give information on, you can include it in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber only disco channel in the appropriate channel. Got it. We're doing a spirit led. All right. Before we get started, we are going to warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal spirit guide cards here. We're going to count back from 10, and when to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the eagle. Thank you for participating. We'll do that again after the next reading. All right. Where were we? And we're doing a spirit-led for, yep, she knows what to do. Thank you. I know, it's a good name. All right, I got you, dear. Yeah, can I have 4 cards? What are you looking for, a sign of your sign about something? All right, 1 sec. And 1 more. Really? Love your life. Come on. No. Yeah, there you go. Sorry. You know, yeah, let's get to it. Good Lord. I mean, this is I need to stress this. I feel like, what? Why do I got a bunch of energy? Like, why do I got a bunch of energy around you? That's like, oh my God, like, it's not a competition. What is this? What am I reading here? This is ridiculous. Okay. Oh, my head. It's fine. Give me a second. Oh, but that's what it, like, you know, I just want to point this out. The space by which another person right? The space by which another person will make a problem where a problem doesn't exist is the space by which another person creates a completely egotistical ultimatum. If you ever want to watch how quickly, right? This is what we mean. This is what we mean by self-sabotage. Hold on, I found what I was looking for. Come here. Like, 1 second. This is what, but this is important too, because this is what I mean. Like, when you want to talk about you want to see somebody self-sabotage so quick is the overcomplication that they make in another person's experience by creating completely ridiculous ultimatums that only serve the ego, right? The modality by which another person is like, you have to choose, and being like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what are you okay? Right? Like the space by it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. And that's the thing about it, right? You ever notice that the energy that like the energy that often like the energy that's often like making ultimatums, right? And what do they often hear? Here's an ultimatum: go away. Like, go away, go away. I got another ultimatum. You should go away. Goodbye, goodbye. It's like because you know why? It's a conflict energy. You know, it's a conflict energy to be in the space by which you're creating. I keep hearing somebody who creates a false context of perpetual sides and everything, and often the space by which you can tell that somebody is so deep in their feels, right? But instead of telling you how they feel, they create a false ultimatum, you know? Like it's like watch somebody build a booby trap to ruin the best thing they've ever had. If you would like to watch someone build a booby trap to ruin the best thing they've ever had, is the space by which, right? The space by which they effectively articulate, right? Like the space by which another person articulates something and then says, right? And then works through the energetic feelings in relationality to not expecting how they would effectively feel about it, right? And I feel like there's something really painful there because I see, right? I feel like I've got two experiences around you by which energy is painfully aware of the fact that they lock themselves out of your life because, you know, because they were creating strife that was not there, right? And the thing about it, and this is what's wild about it, you know, there's the difference between being on a healing journey, right? Like there's a difference between somebody who says, right? The difference between a true healing journey, right? A true healing journey does not heal with the expectation that another person will follow them into it, right? There's never an ultimatum attached to a healing journey. There's never the space by which another person, because this is what happens every single time, right? When somebody makes a decision and goes, "Oh, I'll do this," and then they'll just have to, right? They'll have to energetically concede to it. Nobody has to do anything, right? And the space by which another person, like the universe, and I like to describe when somebody is in the space. And this is why we do not make it our responsibility to teach each other lessons. Because when you get into the space of saying, I'm going to teach them a lesson, the universe's ears perk up. They go, oh, what was that? What was that? Did I just hear you say that you want to teach someone a lesson? I've got lots of lessons. I love lessons. This is my favorite. What lesson are we teaching today? Right? Like, this is like the universe. You gotta be real conscientious. You gotta be real conscientious when you say, I'm going to teach them a lesson, because the universe's ears will perk up like that. They will perk up like that. Be like, what is it? We're teaching lessons now? Okay. This is great. What are we teaching? I'm here. I'm ready. I'm paying attention. Okay. Because often, right, what happens in the space, because this is what the universe hears when someone goes, I'm going to teach them a lesson. What does the universe say? Oh, you're looking for attention. You got my full attention, my friend. What are we learning about today? Right? Go ahead. I'm all ears. Right? Nothing more dangerous on this earth than saying this to another person, I'm going to teach them a lesson. We are not in the job of teaching each other lessons. We're in the job of understanding and working through our own. We got enough to worry about, right? And you'll notice this. Energy that's in a good space is like they got too much time, right? They got too much time working on their own stuff. Then in the space by which you understand that the space by which we receive or we work through things is built upon, right? Nobody's ever, and this is the thing about it, trauma, right? Trauma is always saying, I'm going to teach them a lesson. And that's the funny thing about it. Trauma is always trying to teach a lesson. And there's a different education that happens in the space by which another person is trying to teach it, right? Every time. Every time. And so I've got at least two energies around you. At least two, right? That were effectively in some kind of space by which they felt, like I keep on saying, they felt absolutely convinced. They're like, oh yeah, they're going to come back, right? I'm going to do this and they're going to come back, right? They're going to come back much more energetically. Like I keep on hearing like with gratitude. And I keep on saying when someone gives us attitude, we don't try to come back with gratitude, right? It's the observation of recognizing and understanding that we appreciate each other. And I feel like the hard part about that is, and I keep on seeing, I feel like I feel like you're in a moment by which you had to navigate through some kind of energetic struggle. And I keep on getting the same message. And it's interesting too, because it's actually coming from like the universe saying, I'm right there with you. Didn't miss a minute of it, And I need to point this out. When another person, when another person sees us on our knees and then goes in to take another kick, there is always someone watching. There is always, they don't realize it. Do you know, that is when spirit cries, right? Our ancestors are always there. And you can imagine what happens in spirit when you got an ancestral team that's rooting for you, and then they see you see another person on their knees, and you go in for another kick. How do you think spirit likes that? How do you think the ancestors feel when they have to deal with seeing someone in the terrestrial doing things like that? Don't worry about it. And what's interesting about it is the message I'm coming through on is not your spirit team, it's their spirit team. And they're literally saying, they're not your responsibility anymore. We're going to take it from here. They're literally saying, we're going to take it from here. Don't worry about it. And it's almost, because I'm getting like an apology. I've got a maternal on the other side that is literally saying, I owe you an apology. I cannot believe they did that. I keep hearing they're saying, I'll take it from here. You don't have to worry about it. Like, if they don't, I don't, bottom of the deck, man. And I feel like and that's what I keep on, like, I do, yeah, it's like that. What happens from here? I keep wondering what happens from here. I just keep on hearing what happens. Like, they're like, literally what happens from here. They're like, don't worry about it. Like, they're going, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Like, I get chills from readings when I have to read something like this, because the modality, like like when like this is some heavy stuff here. This is some heavy stuff. You know, like this is why we should be very conscientious about not doing something. I keep on hearing, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. If you understand what's energetically important. And when I see spirit like this being like, don't worry, we'll take care of it. I don't know what they did, but I feel like it's even I feel like it's even worse because it feels very underhanded. But like I keep on hearing like a spirit, like our ancestors don't like us to see underhanded stuff, because they say those are our hands. What are you doing? Right? Like that's the energy that like, you know? I'm just sending you support on that. And I don't know why I keep on hearing, they're like, don't, it's over. Right. And I feel like it's often like, I feel like I can see this, like I can see you kind of having to like move through something. And I keep on hearing like, don't, like, I just keep on hearing they're going to take it from here. They're going to take it from here, loud and clear. But especially because I feel like there was something, I feel like there was something that like, there was some kind of energetic, like opportunity by which you, like, I see you literally being like, it doesn't have to be like this. Right. And yet they persisted. Right. Like, it doesn't have to be like this. And yet they persisted. Like their spirit team has become your spirit team. Never. And that's why I keep on hearing like their spirit team is issuing you an apology. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, dear. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. If you'd like to be on the list is open. It's 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in a private reading. And you can book a private reading on my site. Just reading over the comments. Hi there, Estevan. How you doing today, dear? Yep. Absolutely. Just reading over. No, the thing about it that I was seeing, it's interesting because it was feeling angelic and ancestral. It was feeling angelic and ancestral. It was feeling like you're angelic, they're ancestral. Oh, thank you for confirming what I was seeing there. Hi there. Hi there. Welcome from Santa Monica, Elena. Good to see you, Estevan. Yeah, like that's like, it happened like I see like that's I can't. I needed this. Thank you. It was a dump. Yeah, I know. No, I can see it. And I keep on hearing it was already difficult and somebody was trying to pour gasoline on it. And that's why I keep on seeing like there's some energy in ancestral that's just shaking their head. And they're just like, I keep on hearing they're just apologizing because they're like, I can't, like they're at a loss. Like they're at an absolute loss for words. Yeah, the bottom of the deck on that. The bottom of the deck was a Hierophant, which is, again, it was a continuation of saying somebody wants to show, like they're saying, oh, they wanted to teach a lesson. They're getting a lesson, right? They wanted lessons. Well, welcome to lessons, right? Yeah. Oh, sending you so much support on that journey, dear. And thank you. You're so welcome as well, Quinn. Sigh. Hi there. I've been looking after yourself. Oh, I know. Absolutely. I appreciate that. I am. No, I do. Thank you. I deeply appreciate that. Welcome to Lesson World. Exactly. Welcome to Lesson World. Exactly. Oh my goodness. All right, we're going to continue right now. The next person on the list for today is Per. Per, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question. Yep, I've got you, dear. I got you. If you can let me know, I think we're doing a dream interpretation. I'm so, it was very painful to be doing dream interpretations away from the coconut. I've become very attached to it. How you doing today, Miranda? Absolutely. No, I appreciate that a lot, dear. No, it's beautiful. And I would definitely, again, I try to do a lot of work in taking care of my energy so I can do this work effectively. All right, we're going to continue right now. The next person we are reading for is Per, and we're doing a dream interpretation. Before we get started on that, just a reminder, if anybody wants to get on the list right now, the list is open. You will be the third person read for today. 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. Excellent. And before we get started, though, let's warm up the intuition muscles with an intuition check. I got the animal spirit guide cards here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Got the adder. Thank you. We'll do it again after the next reading. Per has provided the information on our subscriber-only disco channel. Just bear with me a moment as I pull it up. Ooh. Wait, there's all this other stuff here. Oh, Ivana, I'm just seeing this. Okay. I gotta go back. I'll look at that later. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Oh, and wait. Hold on. Okay. Dream. We got a dream coming through. I like it. All right. Let's get to it. And I'm going to pin up. Hold on. I'm going to pin up her here. Guys, make sure the hooved animal. You guys with your reaches. Okay. Guys, make sure to give Per some love here. Let me pin them up. Okay. Dream, outside tea. I was in a building with a female friend, someone I don't know in real life. And we came in by pushing the big button on the outside. We were on the first floor, and it looked like a modern office or gallery environment, though I don't think it actually was an office. This space was clean, spacious, and had a gray stone surface. My friend had a small metal box with her, and we were watching a compilation video she had made about different events. And I remember telling her that the editing didn't look very professional, but it was fine. We weren't supposed to be in the building, and I was aware that even though we didn't have permission to be there, we weren't causing any harm. After some time passed, I suddenly woke up within the dream. My friend had already left and security guards were outside. I realized we had been caught in a place we weren't allowed to be at that hour. And since my friend was gone, I decided to take the blame for trespassing and was ready to face the security. After that, the only thing I remember is being on a large wooden ship, and it felt like a continuation of the previous dream, but in a different environment. I was walking towards a group of people. I guess security did let me go. Okay. Can I please get... Yeah. So the dream itself is working through, the dream itself is working through um, what we effectively seek in relationship. And I feel like there's something very attenuated here as it relates to, specifically as it relates to friendship, right? And we're effectively identifying this because you articulated the fact that you said that you were in the building with a female friend, but you didn't know who they were in real life. So this is effectively the identification of you healing any wounds that you yourself may have with feminine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. And you identified, right, where it's basically the dream itself is working through shadow work via the assistance of healthy guides. Now, we see that originally you come in there with the feminine energy, and you said that you were on the first floor, and it looked like a modern office or gallery environment, though I didn't think it actually was an office. You said the space was clean, spacious, and had gray stone surfaces. Now, it's interesting because offices and galleries are very different places, right? Effectively, what do? Right? In an office, we go to work. In a gallery, we go to observe. And so it's very interesting the fact that what you basically were introduced to was a liminal space, right? The liminal space that we create as it relates to building relationship. What is this relationship, right? What is the nature of this relationship? And what did we see that was occurring there? The space by which you said that the friend had a small metal box with them, right? And you were watching a compilation video that they had made about different events. And you remember telling them that the editing didn't look very professional, but it was fine. Now, what we effectively identify there is working into the context of what was in the metal box. And the metal box is basically the space by which we can never know another person's intentions, right? And this can often create the space by which we ourselves are working to heal. And so the space by which you said that they were holding a metal box and they were showing you a compilation video that they'd made about different events, and you remember telling them that the editing didn't look very professional, but that it was fine, which is the space by which, right? The space by which your intention was looking upon the space like it was a gallery, right? Because what would you do in a gallery, right? It's the space by which another person shows you something and you're critiquing it, right? You're saying this is good, but this is what you could do to make it energetically better, right? Now, the anxiety that we potentially see here is whether their intentions were the same as yours, right? Were they trying to effectively show you something because they were trying to convey something of import to you? Or were they showing you something with the desire that you could effectively perfect it? Now, the hard part is, and this is what happens with traumatizing relationships, the space by which another person isn't necessarily clear as it relates to what they're looking for can often create the space by which it feels energetically volatile because, right, like it's the understanding or the recognition of what was effectively, like what is effectively within the metal box, which is when we're, and I like to point this out, when we're in a healthy space, the the metal box is open, right? It's the space by which our intentions are clear, right? This is why I'm showing it to you. This is why we're here, right? This is why we're here. This is what I'm looking for, right? It feels like it feels a lot. It feels a lot. It makes it easier. But the hard part is if someone's guarded, right? Often the space by which another person is guarded, it creates a modality by which it feels like there's nothing that you can do that feels like the right thing, right? Because it's the modality by which, you, if you say to them, if you try to critique, right? It's very convenient, right? You try to critique and they go, oh, well, I wasn't looking for critique. I was trying to show you something, right? And then if you try to say to them, oh, well, this is, or thank you for showing you that, and being like, well, I wasn't showing it to you because I wanted you to see it. I wanted you to know how you, like, whether it was good or not, right? It's the space by which we navigate a relationship by which we feel like it is a trauma environment because another person doesn't state their intentions. And when another person doesn't state their intentions, it's really easy, right? It's actually what they're looking for are reasons to feel hurt, right? That's what's in the box. It's convenient because when you're guarded, you put yourself in a position by which you're able to feel energetically hurt by anything that another gives you. Now, this is continuing in the space by which you said we weren't supposed to be in the building. And I was aware that even though we didn't have permission to be there, we weren't causing any harm. But this is working through, again, the relationship by which it feels weird because it doesn't seem to make much sense, right? It's the incongruity of what you're energetically receiving as being in a liminal space, which is often what happens when another person is trying to come towards us, but they're not being clear with their stated intention. And you said after some time, right? And this is often what happens in the space by which another person comes to us looking, right? This is a situation of navigating a relationship that feels like it is built upon the lack space, right? And the lack space is identified by someone who doesn't necessarily know what they're looking for or what they're needing, but then constantly feeling energetically hurt in the space by which they're not receiving it, right? Because the lack space is always addressing the fact that of saying, oh, there could be something more there. But you see, you are in the space by which you recognize you're very clear in terms of what the stated intentions are. And you said after some time passed, you said you suddenly woke up within the dream. Now, what's interesting about this is the energy by which you are effectively identifying was also you in some past experience. We can only experience things that, like the shadow work dreams, often bring things towards us that we couldn't energetically see. And the reason that you're effectively were experiencing that is the fact that you identified that you said that you woke up in the dream could potentially be the space by which you're recognizing the shadow work, by which there may have been a time in your own personal past by which you yourself used to do that, right? The seeking, like often we have to be conscientious when we're not being clear with our intentions, because often we damage things in the space by which we're not being absolutely clear in terms of what we're looking for. And then we feel, right? We feel energetically hurt by anything we receive, but we can't help feeling hurt if we can't articulate what it is that we were looking for in the first place, right? And you said after some time passed, you waking up within the dream was you potentially coming into the space by which you realized that, or potentially recognized it and started to work, or you're actively working to heal upon it. And you said at that point, right? What happened when you woke up? What happened when you woke up? That friend left, right? Because that's like the liminal space of the lack relationship can't exist when we're building into intentionality. And that's something that you've worked to clear within, but it potentially had an effect on some of the relationships that you yourself navigate, right? The space by which you effectively recognize or identify what feels energetically like working towards, I keep hearing working towards productivity with intention. And you identified that you said that there were security guards outside, right? You said you woke up and now there are security guards outside, and you realize that you've been caught in a place you weren't allowed to be at that hour, right? And you said, since my friend was gone, I decided to take, you said, blame and responsibility for trespassing, and was ready to face security. So actually that was you waking up to that process, right? The modality by which we become aware of what we were, how we effectively were, and we immediately work to try to correct and change it. And it doesn't mean that we're perfect, but that's the hard part. And this is what and here I want to point out, the guards are guides, right? The guards are guides in the context of the dream. And the reason that we see that the guards are guides in the context of the dream is because it's understanding that we're exactly where we need to be when we become aware, right? And the space by which you said, like, your acknowledgement is you healing that shadow part of self. And what did you identify was happening when you healed that shadow part of self? You were caught in a place you weren't supposed to be at that time, right? The observation, and this is what happens, right? When we're seeking things, right? And this is what one of your guides is helping you with. When we're seeking things, but we don't know what we're looking for, we end up in weird places, right? Like, we end up in weird places. What are you doing here? I don't know. What are you looking for? No idea. Okay, right? And so the guy, like, and it's a continuation of you recognizing and identifying the value of building into energetically stated intention, which is the modality by which we're effectively able to articulate to another what it is that we're seeking in order to have our needs effectively met. And when we do that, we start to heal, right? We start to heal from circumstances or situations by which, right, we effectively often like the space by which we often inadvertently create trauma, right, in the confusion that potentially occurs in the space by which we feel like we're working into the lack space, which is the space by which you say, I don't know what I'm looking for. I'll know it when I see it. But then you're never going to know what you're looking for, because if you're like when someone says, I'll know it when I see it, they're addicted to looking, right? Right? They're like, it's working into that space. Now, we said after that, you said the only thing you remember is being on a large wooden ship. And it felt like a continuation of the previous dream, but in a different environment. And you said that you were walking towards a group of people, right? And so the difference, right? The difference between looking and seeking is one that is built upon direction, right? Not feeling the space by which you're effectively creeping in, right? The space by which you're navigating the self-doubt in trying to work through something in relationship, but the space by which you are effectively clear in intention that allows you to effectively arrive to what it is that you're looking for, right? So this is a continuation. And it's interesting too, because you said, I guess security did let me go, but the security, the guards that were there, and I need to point this out, my love, there was nothing in that building. What were they guarding? They weren't there to guard the building. They were there to try to protect you, right? Your guides were trying to protect you because they saw you navigating situations, right? But like it's like it's remember what we saw with the guide work that you had before, right? Like the space by which someone says, was that security, right? Was the security upset? Was the security upset because you were in a space that you shouldn't be? Or was that security there trying to protect you as you were going places that they were worried about your energetic safety, right? What were they protecting? Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Binks in my Lio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Just bear with me. Hold on a minute, just reading over the comments. And we're also at 35.5K likes. When we get to 50K, I'll be gifting a reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen and we'll get to 50K in no time. Yeah, that aha moment before turning the cards. Our friendship, but yeah, friend. I mean, this is how friendships help us heal. Yeah, look at me chilling with all the female energy. Yeah, she's like, that'll do it. Yeah, lovely. Unfortunately, no, it's okay. Listen, you, dear, I'll put you on tomorrow and you'll have first priority. So go ahead and get some rest, okay? Yeah, absolutely. The metal box was open. Oh, you were looking at the video in the box. So this is interesting, right? Because it's the continuation of saying, why are you showing me this? Right? The space by which, when we're clear with each other, we're saying, this is what I'm showing you. And this is what it means, right? It doesn't feel like, it's like we don't create the space of giving each other things that are inscrutable, right? But the space by which we're energetically clear in terms of what it is that we're trying to convey. Gizem, if I'm ever saying your name incorrectly, feel free to correct me. I'm happy to read for you on that. If you'd like to get on the list is open. It's 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. I will say that the way we read here, it's about helping you understand why you're potentially asking that. We are always where we need to be, and being able to recognize what we need to help kind of move towards something that feels like it's in alignment to us. Like that's what the cards are here to help with. You're so welcome, Per. But were they not guide security guards? I like Ella. She's like, what were the guards like? Just then. Yeah, finding intent. Yeah, finding intention, right? And that's the thing about it, right? Intention is something we bring with things, right? It's not something that we can seek outside of it. Yeah, the building was empty indeed, right? Yeah, I see. Like, yeah, like you're sitting. Like, why would there be why would there be a bunch of guards guarding an empty building? What was in that building that was so important to them? You're so welcome, dear. All right, no problem. All right, my friends, the list is now open. If you would like to get on the list, you'll be the next person read for. If not, we'll also be doing fine. If there's anybody who is a super fan, who has not had a 1 card pulled today, who would like to get their 1 card, you can go ahead and ask a question now, and I'll be happy to pull a card for you. If you'd like to become a super fan, just hit that thing hit the button at the bottom of the screen, and you can also ask a 1 card. For anybody else who would like to get on the list right now, we do highest priority messages from spirit, life path, mediumship, dream interpretation, angelic guidance, animal spirit guide readings, pet readings, akashic, and mind, body, spirit. If you have information that you feel is relevant for the purpose of our read, you can include in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber-only disco channels in the appropriate channels. Final call right now for anybody who is a super fan who has not had a card pulled today, or if there's anybody who would like a full reading. Just a reminder, I will be back on tomorrow at our usual time, which is I'll be back on tomorrow at 7:15 a.m. PST, 10:15 a.m. Eastern. If you would like to get on the list today, you'll be able to have first priority tomorrow. So Angelique will be the first person we read for tomorrow. You'll have privilege. And also, if you want to be notified as to when I've gone live, you can head over to my profile. There's a bell there. Activating the bell will turn on notifications, so that way you'll be notified when I've gone live. For anybody who's become a super fan today, welcome. I would encourage you to head over to our super fan only disco channel and introduce yourself to the collective. Message me a disco gif and I will send you that invite. And once you're in The disco, you can head over to the perks section, and in the perks section you will find a special coupon code that will give you an additional discount to our tarot class subscription program. Our next class is going to be held on March 19th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be studying the cup cards, the court cards in the cup sweep. Say that 10 times as fast as you can. Okay. Also, even if you are not a subscriber and would like a discount code to that class program, all you need to do is message me the word class from this live. And if you message me the word class from this live, I will send you a special coupon code that will give you a discount to that class subscription program. It's not as much as the subscription as the coupon that those who are super fans get, but it is something to help support you if you'd like to become part of that class program. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages. Huge thank you to my followers, old and new. Thank you for being here and receiving these messages. Huge thank you to my subscribers. Your ongoing support means the absolute world to me. And the biggest thank you to my mods. Thank you, Kay Megan, for all of your help today. I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of one another. And we'll do this again tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Oh, nuts.